And right on time. Hello, everybody. It's good to see you, friends, tonight. And it's good to see Jeff back here on screen. He's back from vacation. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But we want to welcome you to another Monday Night Live here at Carnivore Talk. And of course, you are invited to join us on the screen too. We would love to hear your success stories. That's tonight's theme, is really just where I'm going to share my carnivore successes. So will Jeff, and then we want to hear from you. We would love to hear from you on the screen. So you can click the link that's pinned to the top of the chat if you're on YouTube. If you are on Rumble, you'll have to come over to YouTube. And if you're on Facebook, I'm going to post it right now. Let's see here. Here we go. All right. Click that link and you can join us on screen. And yeah, I want to hear how carnivore has benefited you. And I know it has, because we all know each other pretty intimately now, having done this for a while. And we've all seen success, and we swear by this lifestyle, whether that victory has been on the scale in the form of weight loss, or whether that victory has been on the scale as far as weight and muscle gain. Maybe you're a gym bro and you hit the gym and you lift the weights, and carnivore has helped you put on muscle. Or maybe that's a non-scale victory. You reversed a disease or gotten off some medication. We know countless testimonies. We want to hear from you, and whether it's big, whether it's small, we want to hear all the ways in which the carnivore diet has helped you out tonight. So please give some serious consideration to joining us on the screen. And we'll also be giving some attention to the chat tonight, obviously. And we look forward to it. So it's going to be a good night. Jeff, he was MIA last week. Although if you stayed for the long haul, you tuned in right at the end from his remote vacation spot. He's back home now. You want to tell us about your trip? Did you have a good time?
Oh, it was fantastic. We don't get to go on vacation very often. You know, when you got a farm, you got animals to take care of and everything. You can't just take off when you want. My gosh, I think we were married 30 years before we actually went on a honeymoon, and so when the opportunity comes along, we make the most of it. And we were fortunate to have some family be able to come and spend the week and take care of our animals, especially with the ghosts dropping kids everywhere. Uh, in fact, our last pregnant nanny dropped her kid the day before we came home, and my sister-in-law had never dealt with anything like that, so it was a new experience for her. So she was constantly texting us, oh, this is going on. Should I be concerned? And we got her through it. But no, it was a great time. Rained a lot while we were in Alabama on the coast, but at the same time, it'd break up enough every day. We'd get some fishing in. We were fishing a lot right from the dock out in front of our place, and getting out in the boat, going out in the Gulf, and doing a bunch of fishing. So we had a good time, and there's a good time with family, a lot of good fellowship, a lot of good food. I'm gonna tell you what. Now we was in Fort Morgan, Alabama, close to Gulf Shores, and it's vacation area, tourist area. But I'm gonna tell you what, they have some great restaurants there, and I know darn well I was not pure carnivore during all of it. I just enjoyed myself. I didn't eat a bunch of junk, but I didn't worry about my stuff being cooked in seed oils. And I had oysters Rockefeller one night, and I forgot that they put little crumbs, like cracker crumbs or something on it. I didn't worry about it. I just enjoyed myself and had fun. But one thing I found out driving, we didn't stop. It was 12 hours each way. And so, I took a bunch of bacon, took a bunch of jerky. And when I'm driving, I don't get hungry, but I found out when I'm a passenger, I just munched out. I munched out on that bacon and that jerky during that whole 12 hours, and I put on weight. I ate too much food, way too much protein this last week. but I'm back on track. So that couple of pounds I put on, they won't take long to get them off. But yeah, we had an absolutely great time. Thoroughly enjoyed ourselves. I don't know how long it'll be before I ever get another vacation, but I'm gonna remember that one for a while.
All right. And then when you did pop in last week, you told us about a little something you started up. You want to share about that too?
Oh yeah, I played around with starting my own channel, and yeah, it's just something I'm gonna play with. It'll be rough as a cob. It won't there won't be any editing or anything like that. I don't know how to do that stuff. I'm technologically ignorant, so I won't be doing a whole lot of editing or anything like that. But I hope to, just pop in once in a while and share some things that go on in my life. Uh, I don't want to do what everybody else does. We get enough of that from everybody. But if I do something cooking wise, it's going to be different from what most people do. I'm going to just show that the variety that you can have with a little preparation. Uh, I may show off my animals. Uh, may take you all on a hunting trip or a fishing trip sometime. Just showing things that are in my life that I do, especially with centered around carnivore. And I don't know if it'll be interesting to anybody or not. Just something I'll play with for a while. I've been constantly getting asked if I have one or if I would start one. So I thought, oh, what the heck, I'll give it a shot. I'm not as eloquent as some of the other people around here, but I'll just give you me, and we'll see how that goes.
All right. And I just shared that over in the chat. There's a link to Jeff's channel. Go over there and give him some support and see what he happens to upload in the near future. So, yeah, if you caught that, if you didn't catch that last week, I wouldn't be surprised. That came on right at the tail end of the video. So, and if you hung out for the whole 3.5 hours last week, well, then that's awesome. All right, very nice. Let's go turn our attention to the chat here. I haven't even started to look at this yet. Let's see here. First in the door was Linda McDaniel. She's the early bird, and that was at 7:18. And then we have Linda Flanagan. It's always the two Lindas racing for the beginning here. We have Jamette is here. Says good evening, and here's our first testimony of the night. Carnivore has given me more energy than I thought I ever could have. So awesome. If put that in perspective for us, if you could, you don't have to tell us your exact age per se, but maybe give us an idea, and tell us about how you felt before and how you felt now. That'd be wonderful. All right, Brisket Boomers is here, and Bacon Runner. And Carnitas giving me stronger muscles.
Carnitas, good stuff.
Now that Carnitas, that would particularly be pork, right?
Yeah,
Like
Mexican pork.
Yeah, delicious. All right, Carnivore.
We got a restaurant here in town. I can go get them by the pound.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. Bacon Runners also has stronger muscles thanks to Carnivore. Very good. Target Prime Rib is in the house. How about you hop on and say hello, Tom? It'd be good to see you. And Charger Mopar says I still look like a vegan. So yeah, that was I amuse myself with my thumbnails sometimes. So that's what I ran with was a sickly looking vegan and a vibrant, healthy looking carnivore for the thumbnail. So, all right. Have any of you previously been vegan? And now you're carnivore, and have you witnessed that kind of change in your personal physiology and appearance? We would like to know. All right. Isabella Goyer is here. And let's see here. Frank Calabrese from Australia, right? Is that what that is? AU?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Coach Juliet Edens. Hi, how you doing? Glad you could join us today. And Sandy Blythe is here. And Jerry is back to work, so she'll be listening this week. Hope you're having a good day. Poor Jerry. Yeah, I know. Yeah, she had at least 2 weeks off of vacation, and then said she had a couple Mondays off even before that. So it's going back to work. That's probably a little more painful than it had been with having been able to relax for such a long time now. Bill Cook, he joined us a couple of weeks ago, so it's good to see you here tonight, Bill. And of course, there's Uncle Charlie. How are you gentlemen doing? Happy Father's Day. That's right. Yeah. So there was a holiday yesterday, and I totally forgot all about it. So it doesn't get the hype that Mother's Day does. So. Hey, Meeting Wellness. Good to see you. And Dr. Barry answered Tom's question. That's good. That's good. If you got Dr. Barry to answer a question on a Monday night, that's difficult because have you ever seen his chats? They fly by. All right. And let's see here. That's something we don't know about. Kelly says, good evening, Bob and Jeff. How you doing, Kelly? I popped in on Kelly's chat the other day. He live streams on Sundays. So I popped in there and said hello. We look forward to usually seeing him pop in tonight. If he does, I'll be able to quickly access a link to his channel. If you ever want a shout out for your channel, I don't do it regularly, don't hesitate to bring it up. So I'm all about, sharing links in the community. I think me and Jeff, I think they're the only ones that can share links. I think you can share links because you're a moderator.
I don't know if I can or not. If I can, I don't know how.
Let's see here. Well, you just paste in the. Are you on a phone or a laptop? Are you on a phone or a laptop?
I'm on a laptop right now.
Yeah, so you should just be able to paste it over there. There's Kelly's channel coming up in the chat next. All right. Let's see here. And there's Grandma's Crochet Corner. How you doing, Grandma? She'll go live on her own channel at 9 o'clock. Holly Spring is here. And let's see here. Yeah, this is exactly what I thought. Out of thousands, Dr. Barry was happy to read your post. Good on you for dropping your HbA1c. Keep letting the world know. So there we go. There's a non-scale victory too, thanks to a carnivore diet. Is to get help bringing that A1C down. Now, Jeff and I were talking backstage actually before the program here, and we were talking about certain circumstances that actually make that somewhat difficult, according to Tony Hampton. You want to share that with us, Sarah?
Yeah, Tony Hampton put out a video today about certain medications and how they can affect your glucose. And I made some notes on that. I found it quite interesting, especially for people who are on antipsychotics and antidepressants. So what they can do is raise your blood sugar. Several medications such as steroids. He mentioned specifically prednisone, dexamethasone, and medical dose packs. So these steroids can affect your blood sugars, raise them up. And then statins, Prevestatin, he said isn't as bad, but Lipitor and Crestor, which is generic name is rosuvastatin, which is what I used to be on before I learned the truth about statins. They carry a diabetic risk. Blood pressure medication, such as the ACTZs, beta blockers, carvedilol, and nebivolol, if I'm pronouncing that right, and I'm probably not.
Nebivolol. I'm on that
one. More metabolically friendly, but they can still hype your blood sugar. But the worst one is metropolol, which is what I was on when I was taking heart medications. And then antipsychotics, olanzapine, clozapine, no good. Antidepressants, mirtazapine, paroxetine, and older tricyclic. I've got last. I don't know if that's right. Are weight gainers. Bupropion and fluoxetine are better. Not perfect, but better. and then some antibiotics, ciprofloxacin and levofloxacin, and then of all things, niacin or vitamin B3 can raise your blood sugars. So these are just some medications that he was talking about, and he goes into more detail. Look him up and watch it if you're concerned. But he goes into a whole lot more detail on what they do. But I just took some notes on that because I just found it extremely interesting, especially with the amount of people that we have in the community that are on antipsychotics, antidepressants, and they seem to struggle with the carnivore diet. And your first thought is, well, they're just not getting serious enough about it, or they're just not having the proper mindset. And it's easy to judge like that when in reality, they may be having issues with their blood glucose because of the medication they're on. So that's something we need to watch out for.
And then, of course, it goes without saying that, that doesn't mean that if you're on any kind of medication for blood pressure or especially an antipsychotic, don't go dumping them down the sink.
Oh, no. And you don't get off of anything quick.
Right.
When I got off Metropolol, I got off of it quick, and you're supposed to wean yourself off, but that was under doctor's orders because it was dropping my blood pressure too low. Because once I went carnivore and I dropped my blood pressure naturally, the Metropolol was taking it below normal unnaturally and or mechanically. And so he had me get off of that immediately because it was about to kill me. I was about to go comatose. And but yeah, you don't want to do it without the doctor's permission. That's for darn sure.
All right, let's go back. Yeah. So wean yourself off of those medications, especially antipsychotic ones. Do that under a doctor's supervision. So,
but just be aware.
Yeah. But if you're struggling with weight loss and some medications could be some of the factors in there. This could be why you're struggling. But work with your doctor, because I've seen people just quit taking certain drugs cold turkey, and it has not worked out very well for them. So don't go rushing to do that. But if you replay that and or heard something that you take, talk to your doctor about it and see if you can't maybe wean off of it or swap it out for something else. Going back to the chat, we got Steadfast is here. So is Terry K. Terry California. Yeah. I'm not exactly, if I butcher these usernames, my apologies, but that's a new one I don't think I've seen before. Scooby the Dog is in the house, and so is Brian Dish. Marla Kelly, glad to have you here. Gloria Wilder and Robin Vogel. And here's A. Mason. And Scooby the Dog says that a moderator can share links. So, okay. Yeah, most people, you post a link in the chat and it's not going to be clickable, but I know that I can do it because it's my channel. I think Jeff can too. That got confirmed there. And then here we have someone new, the Carnivore Fix. Ironically, that's the name of our video tonight. Hey there. This live just came up as a recommendation. New to the tubes of you and having fun sharing my story and telling anyone open to hear.
Please come on board.
Yeah, so there's
come on board and tell your story to us.
We have a pinned message you're on YouTube, so there's a pinned message in the chat. You can click on that, and you're more than welcome to join us on screen. If you want to tell us face to face, you're also welcome to just type whatever you want into the chat, and we'll bring it up on the screen and talk about it. And then let me see here. Let me scroll down. I'm going to try and find your name. So I got StreamYard here. I can see you there. Where was that in the main chat? I see here. That was. Here comes Thomas. So hey, Thomas, how you doing?
Hey, Tom.
Okay, I can't stay for too long. I figured I'd say hello.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, working tomorrow. I have to be up by like 3:30, 4 o'clock. So
let's see. I am finding the Carnivore Fixes URL here. Hold on here. I got it. I'm going to post it in the chat. All right. All right, Gloria, if you're a real person, make a peace sign. All right, very good. Okay, and here's Gloria.
All
Oh, I
right.
know Gloria. Hey, Gloria. How you doing?
Hi.
Welcome, Gloria.
All
I
right.
was just working on getting I've never been in StreamYard, so I was just working to get on. But
Okay.
I do have a story, if you want to hear.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Before you do that, I just posted the link to the Carnivore Fixes channel, by the way.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
so
that's Frank. It's Frank and Amber, but I think it's mostly Frank.
okay. All right. Yeah, I'm scoping it out right now. So let me hit subscribe. So okay, very good. All right. So yeah, so you can click on that and give him some support too. So Gloria, where are you dialing in from approximately? You don't have to share exactly.
Miami, Florida.
Oh, you're down there by Rick.
Yeah, well, I think Rick is more south than I am.
Okay. I think
He's
he's in
like-
Miami. I believe he's in Miami though.
He
Oh, I
is.
thought he
He's in
Kendall.
Miami. Yeah.
Oh, he's in Miami. Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I've been carnivore since 2020, January. I started with one of those January carnivore challenges that Dr. Barry has.
Mhm.
And I was doing it with my trainer. I've been working out for the past 25 years, pretty consistently, but I was still overweight. But when I started carnivore, I was 240 pounds. And I did carnivore again, just as a challenge. I wanted, my trainer said, let's do 30 days. And I was just going to do the 30 days and, get back to my sad diet. And at the end of the 30 days, the first 2 weeks were really horrible. I was very tired. I was just like, because I went cold turkey. And the third week, I was just disgusted with me. And the fourth week, I was just counting the days to go back to my crappy diet. And on the last day, it was almost like I heard a little voice inside my head saying, something's changing here, like maybe you should try another 30 days. And I did that for, I did very religious carnivore for like a year. I dropped almost 100 pounds. I, got rid of one of my blood pressure medications. Unfortunately, I had already had my thyroid eradicated, so I never could fix that. But all the pains, my skin tags, I haven't had a headache in 6 years, which is crazy. I haven't taken Advil. I used to buy the giant Advil bottles from Costco. It's just so many little things that everybody said as you get to old age, everything starts to hurt. And it's all true, but it's all true because you're inflamed for 30 years and the body just gives out. But when I remove the inflammation, all my pains, my arthritis, it's just so many things. I have Graves' disease from my thyroid. And, I'd go to the neurological ophthalmologist and he goes, wow, it's a miracle. You're not progressing. Everything's just status quo. Actually, it's gotten a little better. And, and I kept saying, well, do you think it's my diet? It's like everybody doesn't want to agree to the diet. My cardiologist, of course, trying to shove the cholesterol medication, which I stopped. I think like you, I was in that, I can't remember the name of it, but I stopped it. And the last time I went to him, which I had stopped going to him because I felt so good. It was just funny because he smiled at me and I gave him all my blood work and he just looked at me, he goes, just keep doing what you're doing, because he realized that it was working. If I hadn't, I used to go to him like every 2 months with some pain or something else. So it's really completely changed my life. My mental desire to learn. It's just funny. It's just such a 360 on everything. I never looked at self-help book. I'm now like part of, Kiltz's, I go see Dr. Cybus. I go to all the meetups that I can, and it's just a thirst for knowledge. And, I love it. I would probably never go back.
That's very nice. So it's January 2005. So you are
2020.
Oh, I'm sorry, 2020. I don't know why I said 2005. Duh.
Yeah.
Five, 6
2005 would have
years.
been great,
You're
but-
6 years in. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, you're double the amount of time I'm in, and I'm not strict, but you know, it sounds like
Well,
you've been.
unfortunately I haven't been strict lately either, which I'm
Mhm.
kind of annoyed with myself. But I know enough not to go back to like the really crappy stuff, and I wouldn't do that to myself.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No. Very, very good. Yeah. I won't touch any junk food or anything. But you know, if depending on my circumstances, I might revert to keto for a particular meal, depending on my company and where I'm at. So, yeah. And I'm completely fine with that. That fits within my personal food philosophy. So, all right. Well, thank you for sharing those victories with us.
Thank you.
And yeah, and yeah, we were, like I said, Jeff's 3 years, I'm 3 years. Tom, you're 2 years, right?
I'm almost 2 years. I'll
Almost
be
2
2 years
years.
in January.
Yeah. So Gloria, you're the leader of the pack tonight.
It's
All
old.
right. What's that?
It's old age.
Oh, you know what? I refuse to use that word. I don't use the O word yet. I'm 50, but I refuse to use the O word. So
Well, I'll be 63 this year, and now I've let my hair go gray. But if I showed pictures, I reduced. I looked like 10 years younger after I
Mhm.
went carnivore.
yeah. All right. Very nice. Another victory. Looking 10 years younger. Tom,
Thank you.
we didn't mean to put you on hold. You want to tell us about how your carnivore journey has been going since you've been at it for 2 years? I heard Dr.
It's
Barry
going okay.
made a comment on a post of yours today, and it sounded pretty positive. Tell me about it.
Which post did I make a comment on?
Oh, Dr. Barry responded to you.
Your
Oh
question.
no, you know what it was? I told him I mentioned it wasn't actually a question. I don't know why. It was I just mentioned how I was at 13.5 A1C, then I went down to 8.9, and then went down to 6.3, and he put that up on the screen. So it was more of like just a statement on how well I'm doing, you know.
Right, an acknowledgement, and that fits within our theme tonight too. Though that's a great victory. You've cut your A1C in half.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. All right, very good. And anything else you want to share besides the fact you got to go to bed soon?
I can stay on for a few more minutes. Yeah, Uncle Charlie even asked that question. The thing, like, what does he do for a living? He has to go get up at like 3, 4 in the morning. I work for a 24-hour convenience store, so obviously you're going to have early morning shifts.
Mhm.
So that's basically what I do, and I do have to get up and take a shower, you know. So. You know, or I'll stink. You know, I do stink still if I don't shower at all. If I never shower, so.
Well, there's a poll question. Do you shower? Would you get up in the morning and shower, or do you shower before you go to bed? I'm a shower before I go to bed guy.
Same.
Yep, and that's because I work all day long. You know, I tear out tile, or I might be hot and sweaty, and I don't like.
That makes sense.
Unlike my grotesque body soiling my sheets throughout the night. So before I hit those sheets, I got to wash myself down. That's the way it works in my head. So, all right. Okay. Well, then we'll change gears and go over to Missouri. How you doing?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I am trying out. I got a new mic, and I was hoping that it's working.
Oh, it's working loud and clear.
Yeah, I can
Emphasis
hear
on
you.
the loud.
What'd you get?
Sure.
Is it the like M7 or M4 or something? I think it's the
I think
same
it's
one
the
I got.
M7.
Yeah, I think is it this one?
Close to it. Mine has the option with the XLR cable or the USB, but it's pretty much almost the same.
Yeah, so does mine. I choose to use USB over XLR, so it's just easier to plug right into my computer. But yeah, I think we got the same mic. So
I turned it down some. Is that a little better?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I think you were fine before. So
I just want to make sure it was something new. The other one worked, but it went in and out. So I like this one a lot better. It's my investment.
No, if people are too loud, believe me, I turn them down on this end. I'm like, whoa, I'll turn you down if it's too loud. All right. Well, I popped on your chat the other day, and then when I got home and shut the car off, I couldn't hear you, and I didn't know if you could hear me anymore. So I just
Yeah, we can hear you good. It's just you couldn't hear us, but it was a good live yesterday. It was something well needed to say. I last Tuesday or a week ago, because I went back to men's group on Tuesday, and I'm just going to go once a month, go on keto cookout with Russ, once a month with be 1 month with Laura, the other month when Rick is on there, because I missed my fellowship with my brothers in Christ on Tuesday. So I'm going back to men's group, Bible's group. And so I decided, well, I'll just hit the follow up. And I was hearing there was a lot of negativity going around in the community, which it always has, but a lot of it was really hatred, negativity, and really bothered me. And I'm like, I want to have a live. I want to have an open panel, and I like to have a discussion. Nobody's names, but it's like this stuff has got to stop. And we're here to be, for me being a follower of Jesus. I don't go by saying, hey, I'm a Christian, all this. I believe in Jesus. I follow Jesus. I share the gospel, but also I'm a steward for the gospel. I'm a steward of everything. Nothing I have belongs to me. It belongs to God. The same thing. We're ambassadors to this community, and we're supposed to be a great example or a good example to this community. And when you are showing hatred and negativity and all that, people are not going to want to be part of this. It's like, oh, you're going to be so negative. Forget it. I'm done. I'm out of here. I'm not going to be part of this community.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. That's why I tried to be the reason. I almost made this my username one time. I thought about it for a while. I was going to call myself the reasonable carnivore because we want to be reasonable. We want to be encouraging, and we want to be loving, and even if you've got great willpower and you're strict and you're lion diet, since the dawn of time or something, and great, good for you. But the rest of us, we're still human, and
we make mistakes, we mess up. We're not living in a perfect world. I mean, we live in a fallen world. It's a mess out here,
right?
Well, the thing is, Kelly, your life impacts others for Christ. They may not fully realize or believe, but God uses your faithfulness as a foundation for his future works in their lives.
Absolutely.
So your witness is how you conduct yourself in all things in life. And people will see that. And that's what's important.
All right. Very good. Yeah. So we don't need the negativity. And that's why I always say that you're more than welcome here. And you're more than welcome on screen. And it doesn't matter if you don't have to be carnivore to come on the screen and ask questions. You can be keto, you can be paleo, you can be animal based. We're all human beings with the same goal, and that is to optimize our health and through whatever means possible. So, meat centric diet is we believe is key. And, but it doesn't mean you can't enjoy yourself now and again. So it all depends on you and your personal circumstances. All right. Very nice. Let's see here. We have, Frank, I'm bringing on the screen, but it looks like it's going to be audio only. I was just going to say, it says devices not connected. So actually it will not let me add you to the screen. It says they will need to connect their mic or camera before you can add them to the stream. So I see that you clicked the link and you're viewing StreamYard right now, but it says you need to connect your mic and camera before I can add you to the stream. So work on that. I'll look over at the chat. Carnivore Fix. Are you trying to do this on a PC or a mobile device? Yeah. All right. I'll keep looking for it. All right, going back to our chat here. I got 4 more starred. Okay. I don't know what this means. Did you ever ask your doctor about the BPC 157 peptide? I'm not sure that was addressed to. Lions Hanover podcast is here. All right, very good. Actually, no, and then that's it. That brings me to the end of it. So
I was in a discussion with somebody over on Kilser's Tribe on that peptide, that particular peptide. Man, it just sounds so encouraging. You know, I watched a deal on it. I believe it was from I can't remember, Nick Norris. He's real big on peptides right now. Anyways, I watched a deal on that, and sounds very promising. Sounds like it'd be a good deal, except if you got cancer. Because the problem with them peptides is they promote growth. And if you have cancer, they can promote cancer growth. So it's recommended that if you have cancer, don't use them. At least that particular one. I don't know about the rest of them.
that's interesting. I know nothing about peptides. It's an area I've not.
It's a new thing that's been popping up. It's an interesting science, you know, but I don't think there's enough knowledge about them yet out there.
All right. I'm currently sharing a link to Tom's channel because I just saw someone make the comment that he's having a round table.
Thank you.
On the
27th, yeah.
27th.
It gets canceled, so
that's your usual Saturday time, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's so it's instead of an interview, it's going to be a free for all. All right. Very good. So to go over there,
see how that works out and try it out. Yeah.
Well, it works for us here. I think it'll be fine. So very nice. Is that at 4 p.m. Eastern?
Yes.
Okay, 4 p.m. Eastern Saturday over on Target Prime Ribs channel.
And we'll have it as long as people come on. We'll have it go as long as possible.
All right, very good. Let's see here. There. Yeah, that's it. I had it on the screen. Okay. There's no going back for those on the lifestyle for over 2 years. Yeah, I agree. It's amazing. That's what I consider another non-scale victory too. Is like in the past, I yo-yo dieted. My weight I'd drop down to like 180, then I'd go right back up to 240, and I'd drop down to like 180, and I'd go back up to 235, down to 190, back up, and because you diet, the mentality is, when you've reached your goal, you're done dieting, and then you go back to your bad habits. I'm 3 years now.
As everybody will experience with Ozempic and all these other weight loss drugs, at some point they're going to have to get off of them, or they got to just do them for life. And I'm afraid there's not enough long-term science on that to know what the long-term effects are going to be. But at some point they're going to get off of them. When they do, they're going to go right back to eating the way they was. I've seen that with the stomach reduction surgeries. At work, that was a big thing at work. We had a lot of people doing it. And of all the people that had it done, I only knew 2 guys out of probably 20 that I know that actually made it work for them. They changed how they ate. But I had a personal friend of mine that was on my crew. He got that cut, almost killed him. He almost died. He spent 2 weeks in the hospital with that. He got sepsis and almost killed him. And, one grape was all he could eat in the beginning, but he would eat a grape, which was the wrong thing for him to be eating anyways. And eventually he went back to eating all the same junk he always ate. And he just ate little bits of it here and little bits of it there until he stretched his stomach back out until he was back to eating exactly the way he was before. Absolutely no control on that boy, none whatsoever. So that's the thing with diets. A diet does not work. A lifestyle change is the only thing that works. And this is the beauty of carnivore, is it's easy to sustain. It's easy to maintain because the diet is easy. This way of eating is super easy. there's nothing to it. You know, we don't have to count anything if we don't want it. We just eat one or two basic things, and that's it. And we're good to go. You know, we don't have to pick and choose. So the simplicity of it is what allows me to stay with it so well. You know, I stayed with Atkins for a lot of years. I was on Atkins for, well, I say 10 years, but really I had started slipping about year 7. But Atkins just got too complicated for me because you had to count every day. You know,
that's what it is with this being on the Lion Dive for 30. This is my last week on it. And except for the pacemaker pizza challenge, and then Sunday, I decided I had some leftover cream cheese from the pacemaker pizza challenge, and I put a little bit in my ground beef yesterday. But I only lost 8 pounds, but the non-scale victory, what I'm getting from it, plus it helps me be more disciplined, knowing that, okay, I have to limit my dairy. I have to make sure, it's okay to have some dairy, but make sure it's limited, because before I had it a lot, and now my body's different. I can't have it every day. Otherwise I gain the weight. And now the non-scale victory, it's like amazing. Like last week I broke a record at work. Normally it takes me about 6 to 8 hours to tear down a tub surround and put sheetrock back in a surround in. I got it done in 4 hours. This Friday I just trimmed a tree, put a new mailbox post in last Friday, got my mom's mailbox post, did a few other things, checked the charge on my AC, and it was like I didn't even know that the time just flew, and like, oh, it's almost 3-4 o'clock. It was just simply amazing the energy I got from just this lion diet.
And that's what I've done. Is obviously this has become a lifestyle, and that's where I'm able to, I've maintained my 60-pound weight loss for 3 years now, because it's totally, I've changed my mind, made my mind over. It was before it was, okay, I need to lose weight. I lost weight. Great. And you go back to your old habits. But when you learn carnivore, and that's kind of the difference, is probably because when I first heard of carnivore, it sounded so preposterous to me that I didn't just accept it. I actually had to study it. And then when I study it and I saw the science that backs it up, then I'm like, okay, this is the way a human should properly be eating, is very carnivore centric, meat based. I'm not saying 100%, but, hyper carnivore, 70% or more of their diet comes from animal foods, and that's clearly what works for human beings as well, generally speaking, for everybody. So now it's a lifestyle. I'm like, I'm not going back, and I don't even look at the stuff that I used to eat all the time or snack on. It doesn't even register in my mind as food anymore, and I can be around it. I can be around people smacking their lips and choking it down and enjoying themselves, and I have zero temptation, zero. And I think that's amazing. For me, it's like a superpower, because before it was like, oh my gosh, that Mexican food or that pizza or that particular candy bar or whatever, it's like my kryptonite. I can't keep it away from me, or I'll have to have it. It's just not the case anymore. Like I'm just like, say it to the hand.
No longer addicted.
No longer addicted. Exactly. And it took about a year. So like, my first year, if I deviated a little, oh my gosh, the cravings and the shakes and everything. But after about a year, no longer addicted. It has no draw, no appeal to me anymore. All right. DS111 says, I can't remember how old I am in carnivore years. I think it's 2 years next month.
That's me coming up 2 years next month. 5 years with the beginning with keto, but then switch to carnivore, be 2 years next month.
Yeah. They also say one day I will indulge in my restaurant favorite boysenberry pie and ice water. That's entirely up to you. Like if you've been carnivore for 2 years and then you decide you want to have a slice of pie, have a slice of pie. It's not going to kill you.
No, but it scares me.
What will kill you is if you have a slice of boysenberry pie every day. That's what But if you can go 2 years and reward yourself with a boysenberry pie, have at it. So,
yeah. See, for me, it just scares me.
Yeah,
because I know how bad I'm addicted to carbs and to sugar.
And some, and
I'll wade through a pit full of rattlesnakes, and I'll go after a 300-pound boar with nothing but a knife and a dog. And I hunt bear with a stick and a string. But yeah, piece of pie scares me.
And that's where it comes down to knowing yourself. Like if you know yourself that well, that you're just like, I cannot have that or it's game over. And that's a real thing. Addiction's a real thing. Like if you're in AA or Alcoholics Anonymous, that's what they teach you. Like you can't even have one sip ever. And I know someone that had that issue. They were alcoholic in their teens and 20s. They went to AA, and they got off the alcohol. They turned their lives around, found religion, everything. And I think 15 years went by. And, I mean, he was doing great. And then one day, had a rough day at work, and a coworker invited them to, hey, why don't you just have one drink with me on the after work today? He had one drink, and then after they left and drove their separate ways, before he went home, he went to a gas station, bought a 30-pack case, went home, sucked the whole thing down, and then after that he couldn't stop. He started to do that every day.
Yeah, I believe
one drink.
I'd like to think that I could have a little something. I could indulge in a piece of cheesecake or piece of pie or something, and it not really affect me that much. I'd like to think I can do that. But at the same time, I know myself, and I'd rather not take the chance. So I'm an abstainer, and I got to admit, it's a jealousy thing when I look at my wife. Now, my wife, she's a moderator. Mm-hmm. She can eat a little something, and she eats mostly carnivore with me. But at the same time, she can go out and buy a small tub of Bluebell ice cream, and I love Bluebell ice cream. And she can go buy a small tub of it and eat that, and actually, eat it over 2 days. And I envy her that she can do that. I wished I could, but I can't, and I know I can't. My gosh, I quit dipping snuff back in 95, stayed off of it 2 years, and then at a weak moment, I took one little dip, and from a buddy of mine on the loading docks, went back when I was truck driving, and I took that one little dip, and I bought a can on the way home, and then it was another, oh my gosh, I don't know how many years later it took before I quit again, and finally quit for good. But it was a good thing because I knew now what to expect. And I treat my food addiction the same way. I know what to expect. I know one little slip could possibly send me right back over the edge. Good night, Tom. Yeah. So I choose to abstain. That's just how I got to be. Like we had this trip, of course, it was all of us. I mean, it was me and my wife, my daughter, son-in-law, 3 grandkids, and then my son-in-law's mother and stepmother, and they all went, grandparents. And yeah, I'm the only one eating carnivore at that point. I mean, everybody else is eating somewhat. Some of them are eating somewhat carnivore. But for the most part, I was the only one eating, and there was all kinds of junk in the house, all kinds of junk. But luckily I've been doing this long enough that, the addiction's not there. Kurt, where'd you go?
His signal's kind of shaky, so maybe maybe he got kicked off. Well, maybe he only had a brief moment of time before he had to go back to work. But if you're still watching, Kurt, thanks for trying.
I'll shut up. You can get a word in, Andrew. Watch, come at.
Yeah, pop back in, and I'll mute Jeff instantly.
There you go. I'll
Jeff
abstain from
Jeff needs to
talking.
be muted once in a while, you know?
I'll abstain from talking.
Here he comes. Now it's here we go. It says his devices aren't connected. Hold on. So here we go. No video yet. Can you hear us?
There
Kurt?
he is.
We can see you. Man,
Walk up.
I just hope that's really Kurt. That's
I'm sure it's Kurt.
yeah, you're frozen solid. We just see a still image of you, and I can't hear a thing if you're talking. In a bad section of the plant, perhaps. All right. Well, I don't. If you're trying to talk, Kurt, we're getting nothing. There he goes. All right. Well, if you can try again, we'll try again. All right. I like Bride's biscuit. I just hide it. The food noise is managed for me, but it never really disappeared. So it's gained control, empowered by Carnivore, but it's still there. All right. So Latro mentions here, I got started comments I'll go back to in a minute. There was a strip of 3 new restaurants that went in, a barbecue Brazilian steakhouse, a Texas family plus burger joint. Culver's is pretty good. We've got what's the name of our, it's exactly what you're talking about, the Brazilian steakhouse.
Texas Day Brazil.
That's it. Texas Day Brazil. I love it.
Oh yeah, they're great.
I love it. Good place.
It's fun to sit there and point fingers and make fun of people loading up their plates at the salad bar. Rank amateurs, they all are.
You dropped $5. Why are you eating lettuce, man?
Yeah.
I remember back the day I used to go to Golden Corral, and the first thing I'd go to the salad bar. Well, who would eat a plain salad without all the cheese and the bacon bits and the salad dressing? And I drenched that with salad dressing. Who eats plain lettuce?
Well, and that's what my son told me. You know, when he introduced me to Carnivore and we were talking about it. You know, I had a nice garden. It was always a dream. And when I retired, I wanted to grow me a big garden, and I did. I put a lot of effort and time and money into it. Anyhow, when he introduced me to Carnivore, and I said, "Man, you know, I sure do like a good salad, though." He goes, "Do you really?" He says, "Do you like the salad, or do you like what you put on the lettuce?" You know, and that got me to thinking about all the vegetables that I ate. Did I really like the vegetable? And like you said, go out there and grab a head of lettuce and just eat it. I said, well, no, I don't want to just eat it. I want to put some meats on it and some cheeses and some dressing of some kind, you know, and this, that, and the other thing. He says, so you're not eating it for the lettuce. You're eating it for the ingredients you put on the lettuce. And it was like that with everything, you know. If I have to put a seasoning on something or cheese on something to make it palatable, then it's probably not something I want to eat. You know, I don't have to season a steak. I mean, I do like to put salt on it, but I don't have to. You know, it satisfies me just the way it is. But I couldn't do that with vegetables. Well, except tomatoes. Well, tomatoes are fruit. Tomato I could eat with just a little salt on it.
That's the way I was. And the only time I ate tomatoes was during the garden time of the year when they grew from the garden. I could not stand them from the store, will not eat them. They were disgusting from the store.
No flavor whatsoever. No, I grew my own. I can only eat homegrown tomatoes.
I just had someone trying to call here. So I got distracted. My apologies. Let's see here. Where are we at here in the chat? We were talking about Fries Biscuit says, I'm the only one I know in real life that eats carnivore. Latro's snacking on some bacon crumbles. There was a good comment about addiction. And, all right. I'll go back over here to these comments here. Bill says, strict here as I just ate a dill slice with my burger. So, yeah, that's fine. I see. That's my food philosophy is a little bit of trace plants that you should eat. To me are there, as far as I'm concerned, there's seasonings, you know, a slice of pickle, you know, isn't going to really do you any harm.
I did have a couple of slices of pickles. When we was on vacation, they went to the store and come back, and they had brought back a jar of pickles, and I don't remember what the brand was, but they said it was their absolute favorite dill pickle. And they were packaged in a plastic tub. They weren't in glass. Like most pickles, they were a plastic tub. And they actually had whole dill in there, in with the pickles. You know, it wasn't just a flavoring. You could actually see the dill floating in the brine. And so I just had to try those. And got to admit, best pickles I ever had.
My favorite pickles were, you can get them at Natural Grocers. They're spicy dill. Those are my favorite. I do like the Clausen's, like a good deli sliced dill pickle. But if it has a lot of dill in it, you know, fresh dill, boy, I'd go for those.
Well, these were very similar to Clausen's. They had that crunch, that flavor like Clausen, but they were really heavy on the dill because, like I said, there was actually dill floating or, you know, in the brine. But it's just not something I'm going to eat on a regular basis. You know, I think a lot of people eat dill thinking it's a fermented food when it's not. It's pickled food. It's not fermented. And I'll eat fermented vegetables, but I prefer not to eat any vegetables that aren't fermented. But I just had to try those, and they didn't kill me, so it's okay. It'll be fine.
By the way, I just had 64 in the live viewers count. That ties my record. So hit that like button so we can't break 64 tonight. That would be exciting. Steak Man Texas says, what carnivore fix for me? That's a new username, by the way. So welcome to Carnivore Talk. Improved my marathon training and my time improved 28 minutes and I qualified for the Boston Marathon.
That's fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah, it is.
Now that's a great carnivore story right there. You need to get that out if you haven't already. And if you don't mind me asking, where in Texas are you from? Or where are you at?
Yeah, Jeff's in Texas also. But what I really like about that testimony there is a lot of people think that, you know, you have to, if you're a runner, you got to carb load before the race or something. And that's totally not the case at all. So
No.
you did the opposite and improved your time and everything. So that's great. Thanks for sharing. Really appreciate that.
Who was that dude that ran how many marathons in a row while fasting?
I don't know who, but I do remember the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we got a Bacon Runner also. That's, by the way, that's in the name. Runner, Bacon Runner. Actually, Carnivore has made me a competitive age group runner. So there's two individuals who now run well thanks to their carnivore diet. Latro says, bought a 4-pack of New York strips at Sam's on sale, 24% off, about $10 each. So yeah, they usually go for $13 or $14.97. Going to keep 2 out and freeze 2. Prices all over the place lately. Yeah, we're actually, me and some friends, we're going to go down to Hocking Hills for a little vacation here in a few weeks. We're renting a place together, and we're going to do steak, shrimp, and scallops one night. And so my contribution is going to be the New York strips. I'll be picking them up from Sam's Club too. All right, we're going to do steak, shrimp, and scallops one night. The first night we go down there, we're going to make chicken thighs, chicken legs, and sausages like brats, and we're going to overproduce them so that way we can snack on them also, you know, over the weekend. And then we got steak and seafood night, surf and turf night, and then our last night we're gonna do smash burgers. So we'll have omelets and all kinds of stuff in the morning. So that's all the men are looking forward to eating meat. So they're not carnivores, but we all love to eat meat. So it's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, I think Golden Girl just nailed it. Grillo's Pickles. She nailed it. I think that was the brand we were talking about, Grillo's. Not that I'm trying to turn anybody on to eating pickles, but yeah, that was.
Yeah,
that's all I ever had.
So we go out when we go out for open mic night at the local bowling alley, and I have a cousin who hosts that show, and they're really good down there. They will make me burger patties with pepper jack cheese and bacon at a reasonable price. It's not on their menu, but they know the way I eat. They'll make that for me down there. And everybody else that gets whatever, there's always a pickle spear on everybody's plate. So usually I'll be like, hey, I'll take the pickle spear. So I'm completely okay with that. Of course, I'm very vocal about how I'm not anti-plant. I am 97% carnivore.
Well,
but that doesn't mean that there are individuals out there whose regular consumption of pickles could pose a problem for them. It depends on their sensitivities. So,
well, you talk about, being a facultative carnivore, where you eat 70% of what you eat is meat, then you're a carnivore. Well, Dr. Chafee brings up an excellent point in just the reverse. If 70% of everything you eat is a grain or a vegetable with very little meat, then you're basically a vegetarian, a facultative vegetarian. And I thought, that's a pretty cool perspective, because he says, like, if you go to McDonald's and you get a hamburger, you're eating a vegetarian meal. It's basically vegetarian because it's mostly grains and vegetables with a little tiny slice of meat. And so it's basically a vegetarian meal. Interesting perspective, I thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and that's the way most people are.
Yeah.
They eat junk, grains and vegetables all day long. And if you said anything about them being a vegetarian, they'd shoot back at you. So, oh no, I eat meat. Yeah, but if 70% of your diet is grains and veggies, you're a vegetarian.
Right. Yeah. Or maybe, we could say, plant-based,
Yeah, plant-based.
Yeah, they're plant-based. We want to, and I believe in being animal-based. But when I say that, I don't mean the, Saladino version of animal-based where, you have a little bit of meat and a little bit of liver and then you gorge yourself on honey and fruit all day. That's not the animal-based I'm talking about.
Right.
I'll say animal-based means you gorge yourself on animal products all day. And if you have a little honey or a little fruit, that's your prerogative. But, at some point, when he describes the way he eats, the question becomes, how is that still animal-based? That's my only criticism. I love Paul Saladino. I think he's a great guy, but that's my only criticism is, when is it, why do you call it animal-based when you've got 50% or more of your calories coming from sugars? So,
yeah.
All right. I hit the wrong button and things went right up to the top. Let's see here. And I'm rereading stuff that we already went past. Let me star this. I come back to it because I still got my list here. So Scooby the Dog says, regardless of religion, grown arse adults should be polite and have good manners. So I agree with that statement. Yes. So yeah, we should be.
It doesn't cost you a thing to be polite to somebody. Doesn't cost a thing, folks.
And Gloria says we should all be supportive. That's why we're here. She also says she makes an outstanding carnivore pizza. So. Very good. Aaron's in the house. Hello, booby goats. And Running Tap says, be careful who you let on. Yes, no, I've learned that the hard way.
Several times.
And I could say no pun intended there. You'd have to have been there though. And then but yeah, so no, that's why I said wave, make a peace sign, something. I gotta know that it's a real person. So if you haven't been on before and I see you pop up at the bottom of the screen, I'm gonna make you do something. Pat your head, touch your nose, go like this. I need to know that you're the real deal. So because we occasionally have some loonies to pop in here. And we try not to let that happen anymore. Let's see here. Scooby the Dog. My diet was very pasta, bread, and baked potato based. I never thought I could go without, but I don't miss it. Yeah, and that's what most people say. Like people who are addicted, you tell them like even if you're not even recommending carnivore, go on a keto diet and you're trying to tell them like bread is bad, pasta's bad. They don't want to hear it. They're like, I could never give it up. And then it's like, then you try and reason with them like, well, how about you just give it up for 30 days? And, then if you can go 30 days, treat yourself, then go another 30 days. You're trying to get them to reason. But so it's changing your diets is hard. Changing your diet is for some people a real struggle. Some people's diet, it is as if it is their religion.
Exactly. So. Their life.
Mm-hmm.
I've told the story before about a friend of mine that was just so miserable with a autoimmune skin disorder that she made the statement that there was a good thing there wasn't a gun in her house, the night before.
Mm-hmm.
And, when I talked, that was the last straw for me when I talked to her about carnivore and about how this carnivore will fix an autoimmune disease. And she says, oh, I just couldn't give up my hamburgers. And she takes another drink of her full sugar Sprite. Okay. That's sad that, you're on the verge of wanting to die because you're so miserable, but you're going to continue eating the way that's causing you to be miserable. It makes no sense to me.
There's the comment I was at. Addiction is horrible. It destroys everything that you are and will be.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And you were talking about gastric bypass surgery. Like, I know some people who did very well with that, but yeah, they had to change their eating habits. And I know someone who they were morbidly obese. And they had to work on, you have to show some resolve. Like you have to get under a certain weight before they'll do it. Worked hard, got under a certain weight, got the surgery done, and then they turned around and blimped right back up. Now they're like wheelchair bound, has to use a motorized wheelchair, motorized shopping cart at the stores, gained it all back plus some because they weren't able to change their diet. So all these tools, gastric bypass, you want to get gastric bypass, go get a gastric bypass. You want to take GLP-1, take a GLP-1. All these things are tools in your toolbox if you want to take use of them, but none of them are long lasting. You're just going to be wasting your time if you don't change your diet. So you have to change.
They call it Dr. Now Zardin, that doctor out of Houston was on My 600-Pound Life that was doing that gastric bypass. That's what he tells his patients. It's a tool. You have to have a mindset. You have to change your way of eating. Mm-hmm. What you're eating now, you can't eat the same. You have to change it. Mm-hmm. And that's why some did, some didn't change.
Right.
Yeah, it's just a crying shame that you got these people who go through this money and misery to have these surgeries or to go on these drugs, and they don't use it as a tool to teach them how to eat properly. That's the shame of the whole thing. Because, like you said, Bob, if this is what you need, then do what you need to do, but realize that you need to use this as an opportunity, to learn how to change your ways.
Right. Very good. Kurt says that he's here in spirit. He is having a bad connection at work. Yeah, that, I mean, it was clear what was going on there. So, all right. Hope you're having a good time at work, outside of the bad connection. Hope things are going good at home. Hope you're still doing well. If you're, I'm curious if you're still doing that egg fast, and if not, that's okay. So can't deal with any of that yo-yo carnivore drama. Alrighty, let's see here. We're working down the list here. Sandy caught me drinking an energy drink on Friday. That's all right. Let's see here. All right. Oh, Bill says he likes tomatoes. So that's, I will occasionally use like a spoon of salsa in an omelet. Again, because to me, that's a seasoning. That's no different than shaking the garlic and onion salt on it. Not something I do all the time, but sometimes if I want the extra flavor, I'll go ahead and do that. All right. Let's see here. Jeff, you are so direct and wise. Yeah, no, he's no bullpucky Jeff, that's for sure. He tells it like it is. So. All right.
Well, I just hope that I'm always truthful when I talk.
Oh, this chat got way ahead of me here. So I'm here to the pickle discussion. I'll start that there. Gorillas pickles we were talking about. All right. Go over to my pinned comments here. For testimonies, because remember what we're asking for is your non-scale or on the scale victories. I want to hear how carnivore has benefited you. What have you been able to reverse? For me, it's been my biggest achievement was ulcerative colitis. So I suffered from ulcerative colitis for 10 years, and I've put that into remission, and it's actually on the record as cured now, because in the last biopsy I got, it actually came back negative. So I have no more ulcerative colitis, the incurable autoimmune disease. So carnivore did that for me. That is awesome. I have kept stage 4 chronic kidney disease in, well, I don't want to say remission, but I have stabilized it. So I've managed to stop my kidney disease from progressing even worse with a carnivore diet. To the chagrin of modern medicine, who will say that eating animal protein is so bad, but I'm doing just fine with that. And then probably my third big one is I used to have really bad bleeding gums, periodontitis, and I don't have those anymore. In fact, my teeth are healthier than they've ever been. So those are my major victories. And then with Jamette here, she says carnivore has made my energy stronger. I posted before 5 p.m. Not sure went through. 5 must be your time zone, because at 5 p.m. I was still at work busting up tile. All right, 5 p.m. my time. So yeah, more energy. So and that's another thing I can attest to too. Is more. I used to go to work, tear out a tile floor, come home, and I just wanted my beer and a recliner, and I was aching. Now I can come home from doing that, and I can continue to work the rest of the evening here at the house, and I'm fine, and I don't have any aches and pains anymore. Uncle Charlie says that guy Larry and Cassie from Carnivore Talk, not Carnivore Quest, went out for their anniversary dinner, and then they wind up gaining 100 pounds back. Yeah, a piece, I think. I remember that. That is true. They're very open about it, and they tend to slip off the wagon, and get back on. They struggle, and I know the wife, I think, even tried. She tried just calorie counting. She didn't want to come back to carnivore for a while, but I think eventually she came around.
Yeah, she came back to carnivore because she tried to do the standard diet and did the moderation and did not work. And yes.
Yeah. Okay. So she's back. I'll get the chat off your face there, Kelly.
Oh, I was trying to hide. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I'll listen. I'll listen to his videos. I mean, I think Larry's a nice guy, and so it is what it is. Remember, we're only human. So, and hopefully, with the support of the carnivore and YouTube community, he finds the motivation to stay the course and get back to where he was. Because when I first started carnivore, he was actually a stellar example. He had been doing it for a while and had achieved some amazing results. So I'd like to see him return to that. So hopefully he does. All right. I'm not a food addict, but I don't eat carbs because there's nothing good for me in carby treats. Yes. Yeah. Generally speaking, that's accurate because you're going to get them in your meat, in your meaty treats, your fatty treats. So, yeah. So, but there's a misconception that plants are not nutrient dense. Some plants are very nutrient dense. But they come along packaged with the anti-nutrients and put other potential issues, so plant toxins and whatnot. So, but yeah, there's really nothing. There's nothing in plants that you have to have, whereas there's lots of things found in meat that you do have to have that you can't get from plants. So that's pretty revealing.
But now, correct me if I'm wrong, it's my understanding that yes, plants do have nutrients in them, and can be, as you said, nutrient dense. But the way I understand it is we don't have the ability in our bodies to break the fibers down to where we can actually extract those nutrients like a ruminant animal can. A ruminant animal can break them down through rumination and extract those nutrients, and we're not capable of that. And most of it just passes on through us. And that's what I understand.
It depends. I guess it depends on the nutrient that we're talking about. So, there are nutrients that the anti-nutrients are going to bind to. They're going to stop you from absorbing them. Even fiber itself can stop you. Can attach itself to certain things, and it passes right through your colon, and you never get to absorb them. Other things like beta carotene, to convert that into the vitamin A we can use is a very laborious process, and we don't do it very well. So that's true, but it doesn't mean that the human body can't derive nutrition from plants, period.
No, otherwise
it doesn't do a very good job. It doesn't do a very good job of it when it comes to certain nutrients, depending on the plant and what.
Yeah. Otherwise, every strict vegetarian or vegan would die within 90 to 100 days probably. Right. So yeah, you can get something out of them. In our case, the way I would look at it is, if I can get everything from my meat, why should I eat something that is going to just turn into sugar in my body?
Right.
And that's what carbs are going to do. So there's your trade-off. Yeah, you can get some nutrition from them, but what are you giving up? Or what are you gaining that's bad? You're going to be gaining starch. You're going to be gaining sugars into your body that you just don't need. So once again, we go back to there is no such thing as an essential carb.
That's true. Yep. There is no such thing as an essential carb. So, but yeah, so you get everything you can with meat without the consequences. And then you can derive some nutrition from plants, but it also comes with consequences and trade-offs. So
Dr. Kiltz, your opinion, sir?
Well, this is very interesting. And you're right. There's no essential plant nutrient that we don't get from meat, animal products. We derive poisons or substances that can become poisonous, like fermentation in our gut with the plant-centered diet. And in general, plants come with a lot of microbes, which are very fermentable, which you don't get when you eat meat. Because meat is essentially a sterile product unless it comes from a highly processed plant, kind of plants and plants, which could become contaminated because of handling and that type of processing. But interesting, I always question the comment, there's no essential carbohydrate. But when you eat meat, it comes with sugars.
Yes.
And so when you eat plants, it comes with sugars. And so you can never say there's no essential carbohydrate, because no matter what you eat, you are eating a sugar. And so we don't know, in the absence of all sugars from meat or plants, how essential they really might be. Which is, again, we're talking about there's no essential plant. But we would probably say that animal fat somehow must be very essential for our real health and wellness. But I agree that plants may contain all the nutrients we require, but they come with a lot of poisons.
Mm-hmm.
And that's maybe its biggest problem. We're kind of focused on the carbohydrate part, but I think it's just poisons mostly in fermentation that happens in our gut, and then fiber, which is also highly fermentable.
Yeah. Well, I don't think carbohydrates in general are bad per se. I don't like curse them. They're wicked or anything like that. But yeah, it's the other things that come along with it. It's the one overconsumption of carbohydrates is part of the problem today. Not just, there's going to be some trace carbs in eggs. There's going to be some trace carbs in meat, trace carbs in cheese. Some of that's in the form of sugars in the meat. True. There's no such thing as I would agree that there's no such thing as an essential carbohydrate, but I would not agree that there's a such thing as a zero carb diet. So all of us that are, extreme keto, extreme carnivore, or say I'm on a zero carb diet. No, you're not. Not really. You're getting trace carbs through your meats and eggs and cheeses and stuff like that.
And you can gain weight eating all that stuff too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, it's interesting. So termites require microbes in their gut in order to break down the cellulose of wood. And remember, plants contain a cell wall, where our cells, animal cells, don't contain a cell wall, they contain a cell membrane. So both have cell membranes, but the plants have a very dense wall that is difficult to break down. And so ultimately, we need the microbes in our gut to be able to break it down in some way, because without that, you're not getting many of the nutrients out of the plants that we might eat otherwise. And we know that microbes in fermentation are critical for that.
All right. Very good. So how are you in New York or Florida right now?
I'm in Irvine, California.
Oh, neither one.
I am back home where I grew up.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm at my brother's condo in Irvine. And my brother's about 10 years older than I am. And so I'm hanging out with my older brother. And hopefully my younger brother's going to come visit in a couple of days. But I'm opening up an office here in Irvine. I actually opened an office. I'm working to open up an IVF center. And I was like, I'm going to come hang out with my brothers and I'm do a little work. And it is a little harder because my 6 a.m. is at 3 a.m. now. But yeah. And I'm trying to think, I may in July move my 6 a.m. East Coast time to 6 a.m. West Coast time, which makes it 9 a.m. on the East Coast, which, that's kind of my intention to spend more time here. And yesterday I was in San Clemente, which is about a half an hour south of Irvine, at a restaurant having steak with a friend who actually just became a carnivore. And some guy, I'm walking out, he says, "Dr. Kiltz." And I said, "How do you know me?" said, well, I'm a carnivore. And it was, it was kind of fun. And I'm here. I think I need to start a meetup out here.
Mm-hmm. All right. Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that new timing would obviously, being an East Coast guy, that would work for me because at 6 a.m., you know what I'm still doing?
Yes. Yeah. Well, right. So I do 6 a.m. on the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
I don't tap into Mitch's 7 a.m. on the East Coast. And I go to, I think, 9 o'clock. And then I may, I'm not quite as good. So it's easier now here. I'm in California for your timing.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, it's 6:30. I forgot. Bob's on. It's not as late because in New York, I'm down.
Right.
Soon.
Yeah. You'd pop on just to say your eyes are getting heavy.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
I
right.
know one thing is you cook a good steak, you got to have your house all smoky, black and blue rare. I smoked the house up tonight. And I mean, it was the perfect, that nice crust on the outside, that raw in the middle. Oh my goodness. That's the only way I eat the steaks now.
Well, my brother, we cook on the back porch. It's covered. And I threw on a part of a tomahawk rib. I had a lot of fat. And suddenly I got this bonfire going on out there, and it was smoking up. And I'm thinking the fire department's coming, and I had to douse it a little bit with water, and ultimately it was fine. But yeah, it was black and blue, and it was so good. But that's you got to get. I get the flames going. Usually it's great, but I usually am out in the middle of the yard, not under the canopy of the deck and the back porch, but I saved the day and saved the steak. It was good.
All right. Very nice. Let's see here. Uncle Charlie says Kip just had his surgery 2 days ago. Hope that went well for him. So yeah. Kip's a nice guy, struggles just like a lot of us do. And
all of us.
Let's see here. So I hope he makes good use of that tool and works that out towards his advantage. So, and Carnivore Fix he tried to come on earlier and he couldn't get his equipment working. So we look forward though to trying again either next Monday or we'll set something else up. So look forward to hearing about your victories.
Technology.
Bart K calls him Paul Salad. I don't know. That's funny. So, like I said, I like Paul Saladino. Bart obviously, makes a game of being crude and that is funny. So,
yeah, I subscribe to him, but I do some heavy filtering when I watch him.
Yeah.
I think Bart's working to tame it a little bit. We'll see if he really does. But
no, not Bart. I can't imagine that.
He admitted as much that he's trying to tone it back a bit. So, and I think he's been doing a pretty good job. He's been working on that for about 3 or 4 months now.
That's good.
And, but part of that's just his shtick, and and as much as he'll like to rag on Paul Saladino, Bart K will readily admit he's not 100% anything. So he's very pro carnivore, says carbs aren't essential, but he'll tell you that he's not 100% carnivore. So, but he'll still lay down the facts that when it comes to carnivory and how that is, what we're actually fitted for. All right, Rick is in the house.
Yeah,
long-term carnivores here.
Yeah, the longest.
Just about. Just got from a neighborhood barbecue. And they didn't call the fire department this time. You should see the way I build a fire.
Mm-hmm.
I gather every piece of yard debris I can get my hands on.
Mm-hmm.
It all turns to charcoal anyway.
Right. Yeah, we got rules against burning certain things around here, but I have a big enough yard and enough privacy that nobody ever sees me burning whatever. So kind of don't care. So.
I burn everything in my grill.
Mm-hmm.
Iguanas and cats.
Well, the cats, they're safe. Iguanas, they usually end up in the fryer.
You ever cook snake?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Rattlesnake is really good.
I've eaten my share.
See?
Yeah,
I hunt them and play with them. So
We don't have them anymore.
Well, years ago when I lived up in Park County, I was on board of directors of Park County Sportsman's Club. And one of the things we did every year is have a rattlesnake roundup. And I'm one of the guys that would go into the pits and play with them. You know, we butcher some, cook them up, let people try it and whatnot. So yeah, I'm very familiar with rattlers.
So you got to play with the spicy biscotti noodles.
You bet.
Scooby the Dog says you can get some minerals from plants, but don't need to. That's a very simple, succinct way of exactly saying what I was trying to say. So,
and that's the only thing I don't like about my carnivore diet. It's the one thing that we lack. We can get all our nutrients, but we can't get our minerals. It seems like I can't because I'm definitely short on minerals. I have to supplement.
I wonder why I never had to.
Well, you eat enough. So I'll give you the example. So I don't need to supplement either. So I'm kind of with you, Rick. Now, mine might be because of my chronic kidney disease. I don't excrete the minerals like a normal person would. So my potassium is always high. I get plenty of potassium from my meat. Other people go on a carnivore diet and then they need to supplement potassium because they're not getting enough. I don't know how, because mine's always high.
I got a question though. Have you ever taken potassium metal and put it in water?
No.
It explodes.
Oh.
We don't eat potassium or sodium. I don't know why people keep saying that. It always frustrates me.
My magnesium
but
is
it's
always
in the meat.
What's that?
It's in the meat. Sorry.
Yeah, but like, for example, sodium. We don't eat sodium. You put sodium in water, it'll burn you from the inside out. You'll explode. We eat sodium chloride.
Right.
But you can also have sodium carbonate, sodium bicarbonate, which is baking soda. There's a lot of different forms, or sodium hydroxide, which is lye, which will burn you from the inside out. So I get frustrated with these people. Well, I need to get more sodium. I'm like, no, you don't. Sodium chloride, maybe. And sodium, what is it? Sodium carbonate is like a real strong soap. It'll burn your mouth in 2 seconds.
Well, I know every time I get a blood test, my sodium levels on the blood test are way below the norm. I mean, every one of them show that I'm too low.
So mine's on the low end of normal. Mine will be like around 136.
When I had my pulmonary embolism a couple of months ago, that was a big concern that I had about me in the hospital was my sodium levels.
I haven't had a blood test in decades. Does it actually say sodium, or does it say sodium chloride?
It says sodium.
Yeah, sodium and chloride will be two separate lines on the blood test.
Boy, that's terrible that they do that. That's just, I don't know. I don't understand the medical system.
Okay, right here. So I've got blood test. This is my most recent one, but it was one of them. So, but my potassium was listed at 4.7, which is right dead in the middle. And granted, I know this is a rant. This is judged against people that don't eat like I do, but my sodium was at 132 with the bottom level of sodium at being 133 is 133 to 146 is normal. Mine was at 132. So I was just a little under. So, and that's every blood test I got. And when I had that pulmonary embolism a couple of months ago, I was way, way low, way below normal. And every test I get shows that. Now, potassium, I'm fine. If I take like Element or something like that, these ones that have potassium in them, I'll shoot my potassium up too high. And for somebody with a heart condition, that's no good. My magnesium, the only reason I take a magnesium supplement is, one, I don't have good bowel movements. I tend to run towards constipation. And two, if I don't take some magnesium, I'm going to get leg cramps every night. I work hard out in the heat and the sun all day here in Texas, and a lot of water. I even salt my water, but I'm still going to end up getting cramps. My gosh, we went on this vacation to Alabama this last week, and I didn't take any supplements with me. All I took was my blood thinner for a medication, and every stinking night, it was every hour and a half to 2 hours, I was up having to walk off a cramp. And it just so happened my son-in-law had some electrolyte supplements there that he takes. And I hated taking them because they had junk in them. They weren't clean supplements, in my opinion. But I went ahead and took those about 8 o'clock every evening and quit having leg cramps. But as soon as I don't take a supplement, I'm going to end up having leg cramps.
I've never had any kind of cramps, and I live in a very hot, humid climate, and I drink a lot of water.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
See, this is where, and I've said it before, you haven't wrecked your life. You haven't wrecked your body like we have. You have lived so clean and so pure for so long that your metabolism is so much stronger than the rest of ours. I spent a lifetime. I mean, dude, I'm 70 years old. I didn't start this till I was 66 years old. And I spent a lifetime of destroying my body through diet, through the food I ate.
Yeah.
You know? And I believe there's things in my body that are never going to heal because of it. You know, I've taken it too far. You know, so all I can do now is the best I can do. You know, I'm living right now with, okay, I just recovered from a pulmonary embolism. It turns out I have a gene in my body that's passed on through genetics to where I am prone to leg clots. My brother had them. He couldn't travel because of them. I have to be on a blood thinner now for how long, we don't know yet. But I have a mutated gene that promotes blood clots. I have cancer. That also promotes blood clots. Okay. Cancer is mild. It's not that big a deal, you know, prostate cancer. And I have a ascending aortic aneurysm. Now it's only a 4 in their measurements. A 4 is, we'll monitor it. You keep doing what you're doing. No big deal. If it goes to a 5, we're gonna have to do surgery on you. But the thing is, so all this stuff I've done to wreck my body, I've got 2 comorbidities right now that at any moment in my life I could drop dead, and I'll be dead before I hit the ground. That's from another embolism, you know, or if this aorta bursts, you know. Of course, if it bursts, they tell me I have a few seconds. I'll realize what's happening before I go. But the pulmonary embolism, if I get a big blood clot, go to the heart, I'll be dead before I hit the ground, you know. And then, of course, I got the cancer looming in the background. So I've wrecked my body. I've destroyed it. But right now, I still, at 70 years old, I feel better at 70 than I did when I was in my 50s.
That's good.
Because of carnivore. It's lifted me up that much. You know, that's the improvement I've gotten at it. So if I have a few of these things in the background, I don't care. I'm living a good life now. You know, I can work hard every day. You know, I'm loving my life. I don't feel like I have one foot in the grave anymore like I did before. Yeah, Rick, I envy you, brother. I wish I'd have had the sense and the will to do what you did, you know, 40, in my case, 50, 60 years ago, but I didn't.
But I wasn't trying to be healthy. You know that.
Yeah. You were trying to kill yourself.
I was trying to kill myself with a heart attack.
Yeah. Well, we see how that worked out for you, don't we?
and 50 years later or 40 years later, you're still waiting for that heart attack.
Oh, it's coming. It's just a matter of time.
But now you're a carnivore guru.
I don't know about that. I think I'm the carnivore outcast.
You're dearly loved, brother. You're dearly loved.
I look at it this way. Tomorrow's not promised. We could all die of a car accident or something.
That's right.
And I'd rather have if I had one day left on earth, I'd rather eat the way I am, enjoy my life, knowing when I go to sleep, I'm not going to wake up, versus 20 years misery sitting in a chair trying to stay alive on medicine.
Amen. And this isn't about living longer. Because like you said, we're not promised tomorrow. I'm not promised tomorrow. You know, it's not about living longer. It's about the quality of life that we have while we're still here. And that's the key thing for me. My quality of life is so much better than it was 3-4 years ago.
What I like the most is that even though I'm 58, I still feel I can do exactly what I did at 25. There's no degradation. In fact, I think I'm better now because I got a lot more experience. I can do things more efficiently than I did when I was 25. And I think it's great. And I look at other people, all the health issues they've had, and I go, wow, even my own parents by my age had a lot of problems.
Yeah.
You know? And I just feel so much better. So there must be something to this.
My dad passed away, which it's be 7 years next week. He passed away with a stroke, same age as Mitch, and he didn't recover from that stroke. And he ate a standard diet. He had a healthy weight, but he didn't look healthy on the inside. He had AFib, and he had to be off the medicine because he was taking naproxen. And 6 months later, but he had his stroke, and they got what he can, but it didn't recover. But like, if you look at Mitch, 79 years old, look how he looks like he's in his late 50s. He looks healthy.
Well, the thing about Mitch is that when he talks, his mind works and he can speak without hesitation. Usually older people, they have a certain way of speaking that you can, even without looking at them, you can tell how old they are. But Mitch, he's still pretty sharp. He's not dull yet. And speaking of energizers, look at this guy over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oops.
My mom is becoming a energizer because she's 77 years old, and she says, I'm going to get off the breads. And I'm like, that's awesome. You need to get off of them. But other than that, if you want to live a keto life, with some fermented vegetable, go for it. What works for you. She stays active. She does her quilting. She does stuff outside. She tries to weed eat. She don't do it when by herself, but if I'm around, she'll get out and weed eat, and she'll do stuff. And she had 2 new knees replaced, and their second knee was replaced where it took 14 hours for that surgery. And she has a physical short leg that it doesn't stop her, but her siblings, her youngest sister is type 2 diabetic and absolutely refuses, to try to change her life. And her older sisters are losing their mind.
But you make a good point. She's giving up something. For some people, that's a great start. Give up one thing. And then when you're over that one thing, give up something else. Long before carnivore, Atkins, keto, any of that stuff, a friend of mine's wife did that. She just did it on her own. She wanted to lose weight. She wanted to get healthier. And she really didn't have a game plan other than give up one thing at a time that wasn't healthy. And the first thing she gave up was chips. Potato chips, tortilla chips, any kind of chip. Quit eating chips. And she didn't touch them again. And when she was completely over that, she went, okay, what's next? And she gave up something else. Till eventually, in a couple of years, she was down to eat a very clean diet. Now, she still had vegetables and stuff like that. It wasn't carnivore or anything. But this woman, she dropped her weight. She got healthy. And she got to where she was eating nothing but whole foods, nothing processed. And it worked for her well. So that's a good start. Give up one thing. If you can't give it all up,
gave up all the other, except for the diet soap. But she's like, I'm giving up the bread because I don't eat it as much. And she was diagnosed as borderline diabetic. I am not going that way. I want to reverse this. I lost all this weight, and I want to continue to get healthier. And she's like, I got to get off this bread. I'm going to get off of it. And I'm like, that's awesome. That's good because grains are not good for us.
Something I just thought of. You said breads, and it reminded me of we was in Alabama, and I told the guys, I said, look, I eat and I cook a lot of Texas barbecue. And I've always heard about, Alabama barbecue and Tennessee barbecue and all this. And I said, I want to try some Alabama barbecue. So we went and tried to find an authentic place. Don't know if we did or not, but it was good. It was good. And I was so impressed. We're here in Texas. If you go to a barbecue joint, usually they'll serve a roll of some kind, a yeast baked roll, and those things are really pretty good. But in Alabama, they served a slice of cornbread with their barbecue, and their cornbread was fried on the skillet. I mean, it was like buttered and then toasted on the skillet, and it looked amazing. I really wanted to try it, but I restrained myself. But on their appetizer, and this was fantastic, on their appetizer, they had pork skins for an appetizer. I went, oh yeah, I got to try your Alabama pork skins, and they were great. They seasoned them, and I'm sure they were cooked in seed oils. I didn't care. They tasted amazing, and it was a great appetizer. And they serve it with their white sauce that they have. And I don't know what's in the white sauce, and I don't want to know what's in the white sauce. I know it wasn't carnivore, but I don't care. I was on vacation, But to have a barbecue joint serve pork skins, and they were fresh out of the fryer too. I mean, they were still crackling when they brought them out to us. To serve pork skins as an appetizer, you don't get much more southern than that. I really enjoyed that. That was pretty cool.
So I looked up. You had me curious, because you're right. I'm like, sodium and potassium does explode when it comes in contact with water. So I had to look it up. So here's the answer.
You don't doubt Rick when he says something.
Yeah,
well, it was a good question. I'm like, if it explodes
He's
when it comes in
carnivore
contact
smart,
with water, how does it come in? Your blood is mostly water. How come your blood vessels don't explode? So here's what I just found out. There's the pure metallic form of sodium and potassium, and then there's the ionized charged one. So it reacts with water. That causes the explosive reaction, and then after that, it becomes oxidized and charged. And now that it's charged, it conducts electricity. Now that's why they call it an electrolyte. So when the stuff that you ingest has already reacted to something, you're consuming the ion, not the metal. And that's what your body deals with. So it's like by the time like table salt is sodium, but it's already reacted, so it's no longer the explosive sodium. Now it's the ionized sodium, and the same with the potassium. So that was pretty interesting. A little sciencey, but I learned something today. So
yeah. But again, the only form of sodium the body can actually use is sodium chloride. It can't use the hydroxide because the hydroxide will break the cells apart. That's what you pour. That's like a drain cleaner.
I can take sodium bicarbonate pills, and that brings my CO2 levels down because I have kidney disease, and
right.
Your bacon will have sodium nitrate and sodium nitrite in it. So you can get sodium combined with other things. But you're right; it's always combined. Usually, it's always combined with something, and I think that's true with your potassium too.
Yes.
If you look at the ingredients of something, it never says sodium, potassium. It's always, acyl sulfame potassium sorbate. It always comes packaged with something. Yeah.
Potassium iodide is another one.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Going back to our start. Oh, hold on. I saw another animal. There we go.
Somebody doesn't want to be on video here. They're kind of embarrassed about it.
Puppy dog. Mine is not in the room currently. All right. SCG 2010 HS. My carnivore journey goes a lot better when I stick to the basics, but I'm flexible with adding in more cheese and some light veg at parties or whatever. That's a good description of me too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm like carnivore through and through, except depending on where I'm at or my company. I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I popped in on Kelly's live, and I was. Do you remember where I said I had to go that night?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, you can say it. I'm not ashamed.
Olive Garden.
So the family. I was out shopping.
Duck Garden.
I was up at. Rick was on there too. That's right. So Rick was on there too. I was shopping at Sam's Club, And I bought a jackhammer for today's job, and I was shopping at Sam's Club to just get some needful things. And while I was at Sam's Club, I texted the family group, and I'm like, "Hey, does anybody need anything? I'm at Sam's." My wife's like, "No, but the boy, our son, and his fiance, they would like to go to Olive Garden tonight." Like, okay, we'll go to Olive Garden. And so I went home, dropped off the groceries, picked them up. We went to Olive Garden. And now when I was driving and live streaming with Kelly and Rick here. I was doing that while I was driving, because safety first. And and so I said, we got to go to the Olive Garden. So now here's this exact situation I'm talking about. So there is nothing carnivore on the menu at the Olive Garden. You have to try and piecemeal it together. But you can go keto. So there's 2 dishes that you can get that are keto. And because it's going to come with a side of broccoli, it's not the end of the world. They've got a chicken margarita, and then they've got your herb crusted salmon. And those are the only 2 dishes. And then so I got the chicken margarita, and it did come with broccoli, and I ate the broccoli, and I knew I would because I paid for it. And then my son gets a build your own pasta, and he'll get a couple sausages, and he'll give them to me so I can make mine a little more meaty. So that's what I had yesterday. And if I have another vegetable again, it'll probably be a week or 2 away, or longer. So like I said, depending on my circumstances, I might just revert back to keto for a meal, and I'm completely fine and not guilty and openly admit it. So
it's been decades since I've tasted a vegetable.
Mm-hmm.
Now, fruit, I do eat fruit occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't had one in a long time. But they're starting to get ready. The mangoes are almost ready.
Speaking of fruit, I was looking at my memories that come up on my phone, for 1 year ago today. It was 1 year ago today is when I was picking cherries out back. Both trees this year have nothing, not a flower, not a fruit, nothing. And now I got to look up, do they bloom only every other year, or
Depends
what?
on the weather.
It's the weather. We had weird weather where it was nice early in March, and then all of a sudden we had that freeze because in Missouri, I don't think some of the fruit trees has produced blooms because of that, because it bloomed early and we had that hard freeze and poof, everything just was done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I don't have a single cherry this year, so I'm not eating cherries this June.
See, if you were a
apple trees are growing
fruitarian,
apples, that'll be ready in August. But what's that?
if you were a fruitarian, you'd be starving.
Right? Yeah. Right. That would be I'd be in for a long winter. Like, oh, there's no harvest this year.
And if you be a pure vegan, you'd be dead.
Right. Exactly. So.
Yep.
So that's another one of my reasonings why humans are carnivores. So let's pick you up and drop you off in the middle of nowhere somewhere. Now find something to eat.
I'll find something.
For the most part, you're going to probably have to hunt.
Mm-hmm.
But to scavenge and find sustenance to keep you vibrant and healthy is not very likely. Around here, I can't go anywhere.
If you don't know what you're doing, it's like Russian roulette.
Yeah,
you eat the wrong plant and you're done.
Yeah, I've been on. This is exactly how my survival training courses have gone. We were actually stripped down of everything. No knives, no strings, no fish hooks, no nothing. And we go out there. We have to live exactly as the natives lived. And you learn real quick. You go hungry, but you learn quick. And you're exactly right, Rick. You got to be careful what you eat, like berries. If you don't know the berry, don't eat it. And if the rule of thumb is if an animal is eating it, you can eat it except birds.
Right.
Because a bird can eat something that you would die from.
Mm-hmm.
Because they won't digest the seeds. The poison is usually in the seeds. And they will pass those straight through their system. because they don't chew them up, they don't eat them. Whereas man, if you eat them, you're going to chew up those seeds. Now you've released poison into your system.
Well, the other thing about birds is that they have that gizzard and they swallow rocks, which tend to be alkaline. So a lot of these alkaloid poisons that you'll find in plants, they get bound up with that rock material. So the bird can get some nutrients out of it. But if we chew it up with our saliva, we're not going to do so well.
No. And when you do that, then you get to learn what charcoal pudding is all about.
There you go.
How do they know my name?
And for those that don't understand what I'm saying, but those that laugh do, charcoal pudding is what you eat when you've poisoned yourself.
Yep.
Because it will help absorb the poison.
That's right.
I kind of figured that. That's why I had to chuckle. I'm like, yep, it's something that you have to do.
Yep.
You know, even some of the reptiles, they have an iguana here that can eat the manchineel fruit. And the manchineel is the most toxic plant, I think, in the whole world. And it grows here in Florida. I have one in my yard. I got it from down in the Keys. I love poisonous plants. I have poison wood, poison ivy. I have rosary pea. I got every toxic plant you can imagine in my little garden. I think it's kind of fun. Castor bean, that's another one. You know how dangerous those things are. But like you said, birds will eat this stuff. But when they eat a fruit, they don't digest the seed. And a lot of those seeds, like the kuntis or a cycad, the seed won't grow unless it's scrubbed. So you have to either grind it with rocks or give it to a bird. They eat the pulp on the outside and they excrete the seed. The seed falls on the ground and it grows.
Mm-hmm.
They don't grind up the seed.
Nope. They just scratch it.
It's like the castor bean plant.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of toxic plants, there's actually one fruit that could actually kill me in particular. Not you guys, but me. And that's a star fruit.
Oh, yeah. Carambolas, they have glycosides. They're super dangerous.
Yeah, so there's a neurotoxin in them. And most of you with healthy functioning kidneys, you'll excrete that toxin before it can accumulate enough in your blood and pass the blood-brain barrier and cause you some issues. It could still cause you some issues, though. But as for me, my kidneys are so far gone that would stay in my blood and it would affect my brain and it could result in seizures and eventually death. So I cannot have a star fruit. That'll be the end of Bob. So
Carambola toxin or whatever they call it.
Yeah. I think you're pronouncing it right. I think that's right.
It's a carambola plant. I think called caram toxin or something like that.
Yeah, and then there's a southern hemisphere counterpart too. It's the only two fruits that contain this substance. So even that fruit is trying to kill me.
Well, I can't eat that fruit either. It gives me headaches.
Yeah. Bill says, before carnivore, I couldn't go half a day without something in my stomach, much less a whole day. Now I can skip several meals or go several days without food. Yep. Same here.
Not me.
It's not my thing, but I can. But I do like to eat. So my preference is still to eat. So
yeah.
Before carnivore, I could drive to or from work. I could not drive to or from work without some kind of snack. So I was always munching on something. So I used to have a big Sam's Club vat of almonds in the truck, and I would just constantly be nibbling on those all day long.
I can't do that.
And then I'd have a spinach salad for lunch, and all the oxalates I was getting was probably contributing.
I used to do sunflower seeds.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I hate those things.
I'd open them up, and I just like. That was a long time ago. That was my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Disgusting.
Terrible.
Yeah, I do the same thing.
But you know what I really loved about them? They were very salty.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually the salt that I loved more than anything.
Really?
Yeah. Because as you crack them, they were just, however they were soaked in salt, they're really great.
It's funny you mention that because all those things like peanuts and seeds, they always got salt on them.
Yep.
Lots of it too.
Yeah.
It probably knew that if they put more salt on it, we'd want to eat more of it.
That's a good point.
Well, that's probably why there's so much salt on it. You ever buy the salt-free peanuts?
Oh yeah,
They're boring.
yeah.
They're
Horrible.
Terrible. Yeah, they're
Horrible.
awful.
Horrible.
Peanuts affect me badly. They give me diarrhea. I had so many problems as a kid, and when I went carnivore, they all went away, and I got taller. Isn't that strange?
Your peanuts a legume, so I could see why that could cause you digestive issues. I don't do well with any kind of legumes either.
Like
I can
beans.
do green. I can tolerate green beans, but that's the only one.
Beans destroy me. I get serious pain, and then I get that gas, and it's bad. It's so bad that if I was in an elevator, people would call 911.
That remind me of a Bill Engvall joke where he says, the spam and the macaroni and cheese, and he says, don't ever let the grease from the spam hit the orange powdered cheese and the macaroni and cheese. He says it would it would blow a hair off a dog's back.
Talking about salt, Bill says that's why we loved popcorn, butter and salt.
Yeah. Right on.
Yeah.
It's true.
SEG 2010HS says, here's a non-scale victory. Was having headaches at least 20 days in a month. Most of those days were vestibular migraines that caused facial palsy, ear pain, and vomiting. And I'm glad you bring that up because I am surrounded by a lot of people who suffer from migraines. And I've tried to vocalize that, you know what? There's probably a diet connection there. If you cleaned up your diet, the migraines might subside or lessen in frequency or intensity. And so I like this comment of yours because that demonstrates that, I'm probably onto something there. So I'm glad to see that you have had help alleviating your headache pain by going carnivore.
Yes. Terrible migraines. Horrible. They all went away on carnivore.
Awesome.
15, 20 years ago.
I remember just 6 years ago, I didn't have migraines, but I had terrible headaches, bad enough where I'd take ibuprofen. I had to have to close my eyes for an hour. I just cut the sugar out completely, and when I went keto, that all went away.
Yeah.
Very
Used
nice.
to get headaches as a kid.
Very good. DS111 says quitting plants cured hemorrhoids for me 2 years ago. By now, I would have killed myself. So, very good. All right. And then, that's not that there. Here we go. Terry says at age 61, my fingernails and cuticles look healthy. I used to try all kinds of things to help them, but to no avail. So, yeah, stronger nails. When I went to the meetup, where I got to meet Dr. Kiltz in person, by the way, a group of us went to a Starbucks afterwards, and I was talking to a guy that was there, and he had a list of all his non-scale victories written down on a piece of paper he shared with me, and one of the items on his list, and you've heard me say this before if you're a regular here on Monday nights, he had no more excessive earwax written down as a non-scale victory. And I thought, you know what? I didn't think of that, but that's something I can relate to because I used to, especially in the summertime, generate all kinds of earwax. And sometimes I'd go deaf because it would plug up. I'd have to use those ear candles, light them on fire to try and heat and suck the wax out. It was miserable, but I haven't had that experience in 3 years. And I used to have that every summer, at least once. So,
That's interesting you say this because I never thought of that. But I used to go twice a year to get my ears cleaned for the longest time. And I haven't done that in 15 years.
Yeah. And you probably never thought about it till now.
I did not. I did not. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, that's interesting because I used to have earwax just fall out of my ears, and I'm like, that's interesting because I haven't even noticed that at all.
Right. And yeah, so that's when I saw that on his list, I'm like, at first I was like, earwax, that's kind of a weird thing and then I was like, hey, Yeah, I used to have earwax issues too. So yeah, something you don't think about.
And another thing,
And the only reason I bring it up is because you think, nails and cuticles, like I work in the trades, so mine are in rough shape all the time because I work with my hands. But so it's just not something you give a lot of thought to. At least I don't. And same thing with my earwax. I never give a lot of thought to that. So I know as a woman, you probably give more thought to your nails and cuticles than men do in general. So
Yes.
my dad used to get that so-called athlete's foot all the time, and I've never had that in my life.
Yeah. I've never had
here's a
athlete's foot either,
non-scale victory benefit is I just 2 weeks ago, over a week ago, almost 2 weeks ago, I just did an AC and I cut my finger. Matter of fact, it's right there. It's completely healed now. That was just in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yep. Deep cut. I can see where it was cut. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah. All my wounds healed pretty fast, compared to before. So
I've never had to take an antibiotic.
Let's see here. I've been carnivore 3 years and I haven't been sick in 3 years. Not to, no vomiting. I did take an antibiotic. I had a skin issue, but it was something else. It was a reaction to medication, so the antibiotic was kind of pointless. So, but yeah, I haven't had to. That's another thing too. Is like I love it when I can't remember the last time I vomited, because in my opinion, that is the worst of the human experience. There's nothing I hate more than vomiting, and it's been so long that I can't even remember when. So yeah, I'm generally never getting sick. So now I've had like the flu, and I've had COVID, and I've had a little cold here and there, but I usually get over all of them pretty quickly. Scooby the Dog says, yes, Bob, dialysis centers are big business. It makes me so mad they tell kidney disease patients to avoid protein. Yeah, and I've done a lot of research, and the research I turned up just does not back up the limiting protein aspect of it. My research has turned out I know why they say that, because they misunderstand what happens to your blood labs when you do consume protein. But protein is harmless for good kidneys, and I think consuming protein is not even an issue for impaired kidneys. So, but yeah, they tell you, it's really sad because they tell you to limit protein, and then of course they like to blame animal protein, like, animal protein is so much worse than plant protein. Really? Why? Explain that. There's no they can't explain that. They just don't want you eating animals. But they tell you to eat a low protein diet if you have kidney disease, but then your your kidneys and the rest of your health progressively gets worse, because what do you need to be healthy and vibrant and strong? You need protein. So yeah, you get this position, and they take the protein away from you, and then you continue to degenerate and get sicker and sicker. And they're like, well, there's nothing we can do about it. It's just the disease running its course. Well, no, just eat some stinking protein, man. You need it.
Although I wonder, a lot of that comes from hepatorenal issues, because if you have damaged liver, then there's probably a more of a reason to lower, because your liver can't process the proteins nor the sugars as well. And that may be a little part of it, because a lot of patients with dialysis also have liver problems. But I agree with you that, but I always come back to, your body needs fat.
Mm-hmm.
And really, it needs whole animal fat. You don't eat it, it's going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Right. Yeah. Now, I don't have liver problems, so that's something I don't study. But I do have kidney problems, so I've very well studied in kidneys. So
yeah,
and And yeah, there's several studies that say, you know what, your protein consumption is fine. And there's a lot of studies that are you know, the common thinking is, yeah, we're not so sure if you've got late stage kidney disease, and we might want to back off the protein. I don't think that's true. One, because I'm living it, and two, it's easy to see where it gets lost in translation. So, for example, if you have impaired kidneys and you start consuming excess protein like you would in a carnivore diet, you'll produce more creatinine. Your creatinine goes up. They use that in a fancy mathematical equation to get your eGFR, which is estimated glomerular filtration rate. And so if they see the eGFR go down, that would potentially indicate that your kidneys are getting worse. So that you eat more protein, they see that number go down. But then if they tell you to go on a vegetarian diet and stop eating protein, then they see that number get better, and it looks like it improves. And so then they're like, oh, look how healthy your kidneys are. Your kidneys are doing great because you're eating a plant-based diet now. No. Your numbers have changed because you're not consuming protein and not creating protein waste. So they're looking at the lab results and they're misinterpreting what they mean. So generally speaking, I think that's how it has occurred. So Uncle Charlie, I reversed fatty liver, fatty kidney, fatty heart, AFib, sleep apnea, gout. A1C was 18. Now it's 5. Hospital 14 days. So awesome, Uncle Charlie. That is a wonderful testimony of turning your life around. And he follows it up with was 325 pounds and is now 180.
There's your drop mic, your mic drop right there.
Yep.
It's just fantastic.
Yep. That's awesome. Very good. All right. And then he also says the body makes its own sugar when we need it. Yeah. And the glucose. Yeah.
Gluconeogenesis.
Yep. Does it automatically.
There's a lot of sugar in adipocytes.
Mm-hmm.
The glycocalyx of adipocytes, because the adipose tissue contains a glycobiome, which is a sugar layer. And so I think that's the part that we don't recognize. Rather than just thinking it's gluconeogenesis, what about the sugars in the adipocyte? I just thought I'd throw that out there.
No, I don't think they recognize it because it's in small amounts.
Well, I don't know how small amount it is, because when the glycocalyx of the vascular system is damaged, or the gut, you get very sick. And the sugar layer, again, back to glycosylation and the glycobiome, I think it's the thing that we're not talking about. I think it's missed because we're in a glucocentric world, thinking that making sugar in the kidney the liver is the most important thing. I think the fat cells have more than we know. Just a thought.
Yeah. Well, that would make sense if it's called a glycocalyx.
Right.
It's going to have sugars in it.
Right. And remember, the sugars of the red blood cells, the sugars determine the type of blood type you are, not a protein. And so I just think the sugars are misunderstood. And if you haven't seen the book Essentials of Glycobiology, it's a massive science that it's completely missed in the carnivore world.
Well, that probably gets sciencey for most carnivore dieters, because when we're just thinking, most of us are thinking like avoid sugar. We're thinking avoid refined sugar, avoid sugary treats, avoid sugar maybe in fruits, So when we think sugar, we're thinking of exogenous sugar. We're not thinking of endogenous sugar.
Well, but sugars in a plant determine its allergic potential, not the protein. Because it's the sugar barcode that determines your human leukocyte antigen. So we seek out people's HLA type to determine whether or not you're compatible with a organ transplant. And it's determined by a sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's sciencey, but isn't everything else we're talking about really kind of sciencey too?
Well, yes, and some of us really dig the sciencey stuff. Okay, I'm definitely someone that digs the sciencey stuff. But like if I'm trying to explain the carnivore diet to my neighbor, they're all this like glycocalyx and all that. A lot of that stuff's just gonna go right over their head. You just kind of keep it simple,
Right. But
don't eat plants.
But we're talking also to understand why certain things are allergenic and why they cause disease. And it's the sugars that determine that, not the proteins.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
Okay.
And we know that it's the plant sugars that tend to be the most allergenic and cause the most disease. Because the animal sugars don't cause our disease. Plant sugars do.
Okay, I can see where you're going with that.
Yeah, that's it. It's post-translational modification that I like to say.
When some people are surprised to hear that animal products or animal flesh might have sugars in it, that if you're not familiar with that kind of comes as a surprise. But one of them that's easy to name is alpha gal. So that's a sugar, alpha galactose. That's a sugar in the meat, and that's what you become sensitive to if you get bit by that tick or whatever. That shows that there are sugars in meats, sugars in animal flesh as well. So that's definitely accurate.
Well,
I'm not allergic. I'm not allergic to anything that I'm aware of.
Well, DNA is made of what?
That's
sugar.
Okay.
And the structures of most structural components are sugars in all cells.
I'm not aware of this. So
well, that's the part of the understanding of, we talk about proteins and we talk about fat, but we only talk about sugar as energy primarily, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to confuse the world. You know that.
Doing good. No. So I've never heard of that either. That DNA, I just looked it up. You're right. DNA is partly made of sugar. So
well, RNA is made of what?
See, I wouldn't know. I just know what it stands for. Ribonucleic acid.
Ribose.
Mm-hmm.
Deoxyribose. Those are sugar backbones that are the primary structural components of DNA. And then you have all these components that kind of tie things up. It's all, without sugars, our skin is covered by cuticles made of what?
I'll take a wild guess and say sugar.
Sugar. What's heparin sulfate made of?
I don't know what that is.
Heparin is a blood thinner.
Okay.
It's a component of every cell lining within a blood vessel, and it's critical because without heparin sulfate, we would clot our blood. Heparin sulfate is a glycoprotein, sugar protein, and it's the sugar layers that get damaged, which then cause. Anyone here ever had a blood clot?
Jeff.
Oh yeah.
Just again, because you can eat sugar, by the way. Eating sugar is in everything you eat. Again, even meat. And without the sugars in our cells, nothing would communicate. They'd be just it would be like the communication was all turned off. It might be something we have a slightly more in-depth conversation about, but it is really the most fascinating thing that sugar is a glycosylating agent, which is critical for function of all cells and all molecules. And my contention is it's not a direct mitochondrial energy source. You must have insulin and you must have a liver to make a sugar energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So, but in Uncle Charlie's comment here, he's referring to the basic process of gluconeogenesis. You know, the body makes its own sugar when we need it. So, have you heard that in any given time, there's 4 teaspoons or 4 grams worth of sugar in your body at any given time? That's how much the body wants to regulate, to keep it at.
You mean dissolved in your blood?
That's right. Yes.
Not in your body.
Right. No,
Because
that's what I'm
you have
talking
an
about, dissolved
immense,
in your blood, in your serum.
you have immense amount of sugars bound up in cell membranes.
Right. No, I'm
And
talking
without
about serum blood sugar levels.
Right, but nobody dies of hypoglycemia unless you're given insulin or another drug.
Mm-hmm.
So there's never a problem with making sugar. The biggest problem is making fat. Because a cirrhotic with a very damaged liver cannot make fat. And they die emaciated. But they have a normal sugar level in their bloodstream. And an anorexic dies because they have no what? Fat.
Okay.
And yet they have normal sugar levels in their bloodstream. Our problem is really overeating of a plant-centric diet, right?
Yes.
Which, I mean, broccoli is never required in a human diet.
Nope.
And I'm sure Rick eats it all the time, but I mean, I think vegetables are probably the biggest killer in the world.
Oh, well, yeah, because it's, that can be proven just by looking at history. Humans started, at the agricultural revolution, then their health started to deteriorate. You can see that in bones and fossils and health records. But
they got shorter too.
Since back then, they got shorter. Their brains got smaller. Now their mouths don't have enough room for all their teeth, and I mean the list goes on and on and on. And especially in the last, say, since like the late 1800s, starting with the Industrial Revolution,
right?
Because it used to be everybody. Every dinner plate had a meat as the primary course and a side veggie that usually came from your garden that you had to toil hard with over summer. And now, because of industrialization and factories, the amount of plants we're eating, especially in the form of processed grains, has gone through the roof. Mm-hmm. And in concert with that increase has also been an increase in disease. So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, we see from examining the mummies in Egypt, they were the first that invented modern agriculture. Their diet was basically a grain diet, from what I understand. And we look and we see from the mummies, we can examine them and see what their bone structure was like, their jaw structures, the size of the brains, and they had rickets, they had all kinds of physical problems because of their diet, that it was mostly grains. And back then, those grains weren't even poisoned like they are today. They weren't GMO modified. They weren't sprayed with glyphosates. They were about as natural as you could get, more than likely. I've always wondered what bread back in those days tasted like. I bet it's nothing like what they got today.
But you couldn't have that without slaves and soldiers.
True.
And so ultimately, they're extremely toxic to the masses.
Yes. Agreed.
They created slaves, soldiers, peasants, and prisoners.
Yeah, so
Bread and
both
water.
bad for the body and bad for the culture.
But great for the kings.
Yeah.
Give them bread and
It's always
circus.
great for the kings, isn't it?
Bread and beer, they'll do anything.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Well,
Two
they
disgusting
invented
things.
beer too, right?
Yep, bread and beer. That
And
was
beer
it.
is so disgusting.
But people line up for it.
Yeah, they do.
They do.
Because it's addictive.
Very addictive.
Get that glucose high.
Not to everybody.
ultimately,
Turn
the
on that dopamine.
microbes in the plants are in collusion together
Yeah.
to control the men and the masses.
Yeah. Sorry to change subjects, but to answer Sandy, yeah, I was taking care. Mama stopped in. She said we're missing the newest baby, so I had to go out and do a goat baby search. And Mama came up to the barn and left the baby off in the brush, and they'll do that. The babies when they're newborns, they'll hunker down in the brush while Mama feeds, and Mama headed back to the barn. Baby didn't follow her, and she was hunkered down in the tall grass and weeds, and I had to go find her, get her back with Mama. But she's doing fine. So yeah, minor catastrophe, minor emergency. So I had to step aside. But all is well again on the goat farm.
Mason asks, is pork and all meats great on carnivore? I usually just hear about beef from our good doctor here, Kiltz. Yeah, if it be meats, you go ahead and eats. So
Except now, look at the follow-up, the discussion I had with him.
okay, I'm getting there. Now, so I eat a variety of meat. I eat pork. I eat pork every morning. I eat beef almost every day, and then but I still eat chicken and seafood. I think it's good to eat the rainbow of meats, and but there are reasons why beef is preferred. It's usually the cleanest and the most satisfying. So, and fat, and it comes with enough fat on it. Let me see here. Jeff says, yes, pork is fine as long as your body tolerates it. And I think I might have a histamine issue. So I do know people that cannot tolerate pork.
Yep.
So that is true.
And I believe that comes from the high amounts of omega-6s, the imbalance.
Yeah.
I listened to a good thing on that today, that it's not that the omega-6s are so bad, it's the imbalance of the omega-3s and the omega-6s. When you have an imbalance of omega-6s over omega-3s, it can be bad for you.
Yeah.
It's a little sciencey for me. I don't know what disease is, and I'm a sciencey guy, but
Right.
what disease can we claim, and this is going to Rick, that's caused by an imbalance of omega-3s versus 6s?
All right, so I'm gonna say, let me start this comment so I don't lose my spot. So I'm gonna say, what disease is caused by it?
Yeah.
Directly, none. Okay, yeah, that's what I would say. From what I've heard is that when that's out of balance, you're more susceptible to inflammation, and then it's chronic inflammation can give birth to various diseases. So
Yeah.
Well, but where do you get this imbalance from?
your diet.
Well, what part of the diet? Because ultimately, omega-3s and 6s is a scientific description that ultimately, if you're pure carnivore, where's the imbalance?
As a pure carnivore, the
Oh well, no. As a pure carnivore, you're probably going to be more imbalanced than a non-carnivore.
Right, but we're talking about plant oils, which are poisonous anyway.
Right.
And so there is no right ratio that we could even imagine in eating seed oils anyway. So the real disease is not an imbalance. It's a consumption of industrial plant oils, which are not natural or normal to human evolution.
Okay,
Right.
yes, I would 100% agree with that. Yes.
So meaning all this imbalances, I get confused because how do you measure your omega-3/6 ratio?
Oh, there is a blood test you can do. It'll measure it and give you a ratio of omega-6 and omega-3. And I've heard, like, say prior to the 1900s, and a person's ratio might be like 2 to 1, or 2 to 1, 3 to 1, 4 to 1. But then now, after the industrialized and Western food, most people today are walking around with 20, 25, or 30 to 1 omega-6 to omega-3. There is a way to measure that.
So let's go back 100 years ago and take that same blood and measure with the blood today and compare ratios. You can't. I don't know. I just think this ratio stuff is like cholesterol measurement.
I don't know how long they've been testing for omega-6 and omega-3 ratios.
You can never compare a test unless you ran it through the same analyzer at the same time. You can't. And so, but again, if we go back 100, omega-3/6s, there are no diseases. There's only diseases secondary to the consumption of plant or seed products. That's the problem. So without knowing a ratio, you might have a normal ratio, but sick because you're eating poisonous plants and their products.
I think if you're eating poisonous plants, I think your ratio would be off.
Right, but again, it's irrelevant because you're eating poisonous products, and your problem isn't a ratio issue. It's like let's manage your ratios, when in fact all you need to do is stop eating plant products and stick to carnivore.
That's right. That is what it simply boils down to.
Where this came up in the conversation was, we've heard a lot here lately about who is it? Vital Farms, whoever does the supposed pasture raised eggs, and they've discovered that that they are not pasture raised. It's all, a misnomer. But they feed their chickens, and most chickens are fed on a diet of soy and grains, soy and corn. And so these eggs that were touted as being, pure pasture raised, were showing that they had the same omega-6 ratios as normal eggs. There was no difference in eggs that were raised under factory conditions versus Vital Farms, who is supposedly raised pasture raised. And that's where they were saying that the amount of omega-6s in the eggs was equal to, I forget the exact measurement, but a specific measurement of canola oil, and the omega-6s in canola oil. And I think that's where they're saying, of course, we're talking plants, like you were talking, you're getting poisonous plants. But that's where they're talking about, we have because we eat so many vegetable oil foods or foods that have vegetables, that we have a large imbalance of omega-6s due to that. It's due to our diet. Whereas a carnivore shouldn't be in that area, because we're not getting all the other vegetable oils and bad foods, bad vegetables into our diet. That small amount of omega-6s that we're getting in the eggs shouldn't be that big of a deal to us, especially if we eat plenty of fish.
Rick, do you have a comment on this subject?
I'm just kind of taking it in. Half the time, I try to think about the way that it affects me, and it seems like it's the opposite to a lot of people.
Well, I think this is great, but I think there's so much marketing ploys between all the producers of, my salt is better than yours, my eggs are better than yours, my meat is better than yours. Use the salt, eat the meat, enjoy the eggs, and stop measuring.
Oh, I completely agree.
That's what I got from what you said, because they're all like, Eat a chicken, eat the egg, enjoy.
I've been telling people for a long time, people keep talking about, well, it's been this big uproar over Vital Farms, that, oh my gosh, they're not doing what they said they were doing. Okay. So what?
So what other eggs is the same way?
Yeah.
Well,
quit spending $6 or $7 on a carton of eggs that is supposed to be healthier when it's the exact same as the plain old white cheap eggs you get at Wally World. Just eat eggs.
What I do, I eat more than the average person. So I figure I get a better chance of getting what I need if I just eat more.
Now, I can't, in my case, I'm saying eat it. Don't worry about it. It's not because your diet is already pretty pure if you're eating carnivore. So that little bit extra, it's just like me and Bob talk about. If I go to a restaurant and I get a steak and they cooked it on the flat top and they use seed oils when they cooked it, I'm not going to sweat it because that little bit in my diet ain't going to hurt me none. It doesn't hurt me a bit. Now, if I ate that way every single day and I had all this extra, soybean oil and canola oil coming into my body, yes, that would affect me. That would raise my inflammation in my body. But when you're pure, for the most part, that little bit generally won't harm you. If it does, then stay away from it.
I've had issues with tiny amounts though.
Well, yeah, and I can see that.
Yeah,
But
you've mentioned that before. So the
in my case, that little bit doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
I can't speak for everybody else, because all our physiologies are different, But if you can eat the cheapest egg from Walmart and it don't hurt you none, just keep eating the eggs. Now, in my case, if it really bothers you that much, you can do like I do, raise your own.
If you can
I
afford,
haven't ate a store-bought egg in so long, I can't tell you.
if you can afford to support your local rancher, and buy local eggs and farm fresh eggs, pasture raised eggs, grass fed beef. You can afford all that, and you can support that kind of that kind of business. Then by all means do it, but it's not critical.
Yeah,
so what I've heard, the prevailing excuse or reasoning behind why some people are worried about maybe pork or chicken is because they're monogastric animals that are fed a lot of corn and soy. So their meat is going to be higher in omega-6 than a wild boar or a wild bird would be. For me, it doesn't matter. So seed oil, consumption of seed oils, trace seed oils now and again does absolutely zero to me. I have no effect. Unlike Rick here, who gets triggered with just a small amount.
Diarrhea.
Yeah. He has a little bit. You only have to tell him it's on his food. As soon as his body will let him know because he's got to dart to the bathroom. I'm not like that. I'm not like that. So, do I use seed oils at home? Absolutely not. Do I care if something cooks something in seed oils at the restaurant? No, because I only go out to eat once in a blue moon anyway. When
I find seed oils in a clean out, you probably know what I do with them.
Diesel fuel.
That's right. They go right in the fuel tank.
Dr. Kiltz is raising his hand.
Yeah, I just saw this comment from Gary about Dr. Boz and her sardines.
Yeah.
And I love Dr. Boz. I'm not a sardine fan. I prefer anchovies personally. But, I think it's a play on things. I think it's good. And I'm not a big tester. I've done ketone stuff. Like when I did my 15-day fast, I played with all that stuff. My glucose was like in the 40s, and my ketones real high. I'm just testing, having fun with it. I think it's more educational, more entertainment than anything. But I think it's kind of fun to play with myself. But I'm not a sardine fan.
I couldn't eat that many sardines. So.
I'm not a fan of.
No.
I'd rather eat, salmon, trout, something like that.
Yeah.
I
agree.
Which I got my fill of seafood on this vacation I was on. We was right there on the coast there, and we ate a bunch of fish. And that last night we was there, we cooked up. Oh gosh, I think we caught 7 or 8 crabs. We cooked up a bunch of crab. We had speckled trout and redfish. We had a big old feast, and it was all cooked carnivore.
All right. Kelly, I muted you for a minute. Yeah, I got TV. You got TV going on in the background.
Your TV's going. The TV's going. We had to mute me. Your TV's going.
Oh,
So make it obvious if you or see if you can unmute yourself. Can you unmute yourself? Hold on. Try and unmute yourself and start talking if you can unmute yourself. Okay.
The TV. When you said the TV, I'm like, I had to tell my daughter, "Hey, your TV's on."
Yeah, it started to I was like, wait a minute, something's going on in the background somewhere.
I like the way that I can mute. It's very simple. It's got a switch right here.
Yeah. All right. Very nice. Let's see here. So yeah, I'm not big into sardines. I go through phases where I eat them, and then I'm like, after a couple days, I'm like, I don't want to touch these things again, not for a while.
Well, I've said it before. Reason I don't like sardines is because when I was younger, I used to eat a lot of sardines and a lot of smoked oysters, but I always ate them with crackers.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I put them on crackers. And now if I try to eat them out of the can, I don't like them because I want them with crackers. It's just an association thing. So I don't mess with them.
I never understood why people like crackers.
You haven't tried the sardine pork rind yet?
No, I've thought about it, but it just doesn't compute. It doesn't seem to work.
Scooby the dog says,
I'll just stick with eating my oysters raw and my fish raw.
Yeah.
That's why I like my fish.
So for most of us, our body keeps our electrolytes in balance. I would agree. So,
yep.
Like I said, my potassium runs high, my magnesium runs high, my salt a little low, but I don't need to. I salt to taste, and I don't need to supplement anything. And people like Anthony Chafee and Baker, they just eat enough meat that they're getting their potassium and magnesium requirements in the amount of meat they eat. So, the federal RDA, not that necessarily means anything. I think you have to eat 3 pounds of meat to get the amount of magnesium that they say you're supposed to get, but still your kidneys, if your magnesium is running low, your kidneys should hold on to it. And if your magnesium is high, then your kidneys should excrete some. That's part of the job of the kidneys anyway.
And I eat 4 to 6 pounds a day.
Right. So that's why he's not taking any supplements. So.
And I'll say this about my electrolyte issues. In the wintertime, I don't deal with leg cramps.
Mm-hmm.
It's when the weather warms up, because we're hot here in Texas, and especially after rain, it's very humid, and I'm pretty much working most of the day. If I'm not outside working, then I'm at the gym working out. So here in the Texas heat, it drains me.
Yeah, so you'll be losing it through your sweat. So
yeah, for those that I never had this issue working indoors. It's just working outdoors all the time. That's the thing about having a farm. It's constant work all the time, and it's all outside work. I did a bunch of mowing today. I got some time this week. I gotta start mowing pastures. I got a ton of weed eating to do, and I've got fence work I got to get done this week. So it'll be busy every single day.
We're born to work.
Yes, we are. We are
every day.
We are. And when you got a farm, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
You stay busy. And don't get me wrong. I ain't griping. I love it. I wouldn't choose any other lifestyle. I love raising my animals. I love having my property. I love working on my property.
At least we have machines nowadays.
Yeah. Yep.
They help.
And the older I get, the more machines I want.
Yep. You need to get that tractor attachment so you don't have to use a weed eater anymore.
Yeah. Well, I can't get the tractor in where I need to do the weed eating, unfortunately. But yeah, They do make a weed eater on wheels though, but I'm not ready for that yet.
They make an attachment. It's got like 3 string trimmers that go around. It goes around the pole. You can put it on a tractor or a skid steer.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw that. That's a neat little handy thing. It goes around and then it hits the post and then it keeps it from knocking the post or tearing up your equipment.
That's right.
Latro says if you have diabetes, fruit is a hard pass. Definitely
should be.
Don't want to do anything to raise your blood sugars. That's counterintuitive to having diabetes. Let's see here. Carnivore Cutler says, speaking of earwax, I used to have to change the wax guards on my hearing aids every other month. So there we go. There's another earwax testimony. I have not had to change them at all since starting Carnivore. Very good. And Jamet says, Dr. Barry says, any eggs or meat is better than donuts. It's just common sense. So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. He'll say the same thing, too, about chip chop ham, bologna, and hot dogs. You know, he'd rather see you eating that than a bowl of Lucky Charms. So,
yeah.
It ain't the best, but it's better than the rest.
Lucky Charms are disgusting.
Yeah, I used to, when I was a kid, I was left with big bowls of sugar covered in milk, you know.
Oh, so we got family here.
Box. You know,
we got a sister-in-law and
steak
her
and eggs
daughter that was taking care of our place while we was gone, taking care of the animals. I come home, was sitting on the.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Hey, have a good night.
Love you guys.
Dr. Kiltz.
All right. Have a good one.
Too.
Take care.
Too.
Bye.
Bye.
Enjoy your time with the family.
But anyways, we come home and I didn't notice it last night. We got home rather late, but today I noticed right there on the kitchen island there's a box of Fruit Loops. You know, and it almost makes me cringe when I see that. I open up the refrigerator and there's a jug of skim milk.
Ugh.
You know, and there's a deal of Land O'Lakes unsalted butter, and I picked it up and look at the ingredients, and it's got natural flavoring in it. And I'm like, my gosh! And then there's a tub of sherbet in the freezer, the drawer of the freezer, and all this stuff is like, why are you poisoning your body? But you know, that's just how people eat these days. You know, and I can't preach to them. If they want advice, I'll give it. And I know it's. I don't think it's my sister-in-law that's doing it because she's had the Carnivore Talk and she understands it. She doesn't eat it, but she's close to it. She eats more meat-centric now. Pretty sure that was her daughter. Her daughter's like 22. You know, you ain't gonna change them around. They want them sweets. That's all they live on is sugar today.
Yeah, I always hated skim milk. And I always preferred whole milk over 2% back when I used to drink it regularly. But everybody once thought that skim milk was the way you're supposed to go. And I'm like,
yeah, we always did 2%. I had that compromise.
Mm-hmm.
We did that 2% till, I learned from Dr. Barry what all that stuff was about.
Yeah. And now I'm not really much of a milk drinker. So
I don't drink milk at all.
I have a friend that can get it raw A1 or raw A2, and I had some, and I'm like, okay, it was tasty, but I just don't. I'm not into it, so I don't want to get it because it's just gonna go bad.
Make yogurt out of it.
All right, so it is 10 till 11.
Mm-hmm.
So I recently posted the link again. So we're scheduled till 10:30. We sometimes go till 11:30. If you want to join us on screen, this will be your last chance. You can click the link.
I'm going to bail out of here. I'm ready for bed.
Yeah, and like I said, about creeping up on 11. That's probably what we're all probably gonna start dropping like flies here in a minute. So
y'all have a great night.
Good night.
Good night, Kelly.
Good night,
we'll see you later. I'm a sardine feaster, but I do slightly prefer mackerel. And Ha, I won't eat eggs or chickens from Walmart or places like that, or pork. I'm a snob.
And that's great for those that can do it. You know, it's like Dr. Baker says. You know, eat the best you can. You know, the best you can afford. If all you can afford is hot dog and bolognas, that's still better than eating donuts and chips.
Cutler says seed oils are inflammatory and cause joint pains within 2 to 3 hours of consumption, even carnivore food cooked on seed oil. So, yeah, I mean, if I had that too, I'd avoid it like the plague. So those of you that avoid it like the plague, I get it. You know, I would too if I reacted that way. But fortunately, I've never reacted that way. I do need to test the diarrhea theory though. So we brought that up probably a couple months ago. Like when I have a salad with ranch, I got to run to the bathroom. I was blaming the salad. But is it the salad or is it the ranch? So I don't know. But
the only ranch I want is the kind that has cows on it.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, unless you own chickens where the eggs are coming from, what do they eat? Again, you know, generally, I'm not concerned. I do buy the brown. I pay the extra money for the brown eggs that say pasture raised on them. And even though it says pasture raised, if you look at the fine print, it'll say these chickens were fed a vegetarian diet. So
I like parking lot chicken.
Yeah.
Stevie Dog says thank you. He's
I guess they eat everything. They're always digging holes. Yeah, they're digging holes all over the place.
Yep.
Like the ducks, they're a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, the grandkids get a kick in the summertime catching grasshoppers and feeding them to the chickens.
Mm-hmm.
They just love this, you know, because you throw a grasshopper down to one, you know, and it'll snatch it up, and then the 2 or 3 others are trying to steal it right out of the beak of the other one. You know, it's a lot of fun.
That's what the ducks do too.
Watching them carnivore chickens go at it.
You should see the ducks. They go after anything. Birds love to eat.
We have around here we got. You said birds love to eat. We got Canadian geese and crows, and they don't care who you are or how big of a vehicle you're driving. They won't around here. They don't move for nobody. And so you got to have crows in the middle of the road eating some carcass like a squirrel or something. You drive up, and they're just like, "We're not done yet." You got to drive around them. Canadian goose, same way. Canadian goose sit there like.
I'll smack a crow. I ain't got no problem with it, but they all get out of the way of my vehicle. They'll do the same thing. We got a lot of roadkill in Texas. A lot of roadkill.
Ow, Milton.
And you know, crows beyond it. The thing we got to watch for is the buzzards, the vultures, and because them things, you don't want to smack one of them, or you're going to have body damage. They're dense. You know, fortunately, they tend to get out of your way. And then in my area, I got a Mexican eagle that hangs around. And they're just like the buzzards, or they're like any eagle. They're scavengers, just like the buzzards are, just not quite as bad. And I'll see them on the carrion out on the road. But I got to watch them Mexican eagles. That's why one of the reasons I got to watch my goats so close is those Mexican eagles are really bad on newborns. And it's not legal without a permit to stop them from attacking your livestock. I mean, you can get a permit to do it, but it's tough to get a permit for it.
Accidents happen, don't Wilson?
Yeah, they do. You live far enough out in the country like I do, you know, nobody's going to know nothing, you know.
Last time I had a goose attack me, I took care of the problem in a very tasty way.
Yeah. I remember my son we used to have some geese. My son, he hated going into the pen where all the birds were at. We had about an acre pasture that was fenced off, and just for the birds. And he hated going in there because they were. We had an African gray goose, and come chasing after him, you know, head down, squawking at him. My son, when he'd go in there to feed, he'd take he'd take a trash can lid and use it as a shield against that goose. And I said, let me show you how to handle that goose, son. And I says, I guarantee you this will work. And I walked in there, and that goose come at me, and I dropped him. I kicked him like he drop kick a football, sent him about 20 feet. And he got up, and he come running at me again, and I booted him again about 20, 30 feet. And after that goose never bothered me again. Well, he'd come squawking, but he stayed out of leg range. He never attacked me again. That's all you got to do to him.
Around here, I used to grab him by the head and hold him down.
Yeah, that's good, but boy, they smack you with them wings. It can hurt.
Well, when you're on top of their back and you got them on the ground, then they're hitting the ground when they do that.
Uncle Charlie wants to know if we're allowed to have sour cream on a carnivore diet. What's the best kind? So the answer to that generally is yes.
Mm-hmm.
Most sour cream is pure animal fat. This cream,
Mm-hmm.
there's no plants in it.
Look at the label.
If you are carb conscious, you know, since it is a dairy product, you're going to find maybe a trace carb in there. But if you're not worried about carbs and you're just worried about being carnivore, yeah, no, it's truly carnivore. And all it is cream from an animal plus some bacteria for fermentation. So
Well, some of them will be adulterated with gar gum and stuff like that, you know. So you got to make up your own mind whether you're willing to ingest any additives. But some of, I understand a lot of people like Daisy. I don't know. I haven't read the label. I don't know how good or bad it is. My wife will eat sour cream with her omelets and whatnot, but I generally don't eat too much of it. I have used it to make some dip in the past. Carnivore friendly dips, that is.
I'm reading it here. Ingredients: cultured cream. That's it.
Yeah. So Daisy is the one that most people use or recommend that you use. Calico. There's Cali.
Let me zoom. Let me blow that one up. Yep, look at that.
I can't hardly get my hands on our kittens. They're wild.
Mine are tame.
Tiny. Little guy.
Look at this little face. Look at a cutie.
Mm-hmm. Oh, let me bring that back up again. Trying to. There we go. Kitty, kitty. How many of those you got now?
I got two. I got this one and I got Garfield, the orange one.
Mm-hmm.
And Milton is over here. Look at Milton. Milton likes them.
Well, that's good.
Once I get Miss Kitty fixed, I'm going to deflea them. They're going to be inside cats.
Mm-hmm.
Cute. Love my kittens.
All right, very nice. The Daisy here, I actually brought it up on the. You can share it here. Oh, I don't know if that's probably hard to see.
Total sugar is 1 gram. That's due to the milk.
Yeah. 1 gram for 2 tablespoons. That's a pretty generous size, actually. So, yeah. So that's to me that's nothing. That's trivial. So
No, it is. Yeah, it doesn't have a lot of added ingredients, so that's just fine.
yeah. Now, if you go with the light version, let's see.
Now you're dealing with sugars, milk sugars.
Yeah, the light version that it says ingredients: cultured cream and skim milk. So the cream is diluted with skim milk to bring the fat content down. It's still not bad, but there's no point. So
if you're gonna eat any kind of dairy, you want it to be full fat dairy or whole milk dairy.
There's the orange one, Garfield. All right.
I love my kittens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even Milton. Milton's my black kitten. Cute. You're a sweetheart. I have nice cats.
Very
Okay.
nice. I got a nice cat. Most of my cats in my life have not been very nice, but the one I got now is like my buddy. So I'm surprised he's not in here.
I've got a couple of out of all my barn cats. I've got a couple that are real friendly. I've got one lion. He's very standoffish, a little skittish. You can't get your hands on him, but he's a good cat. He's a good cat. In fact, I saw him munching on a big old rat earlier today. He caught him a big rat, and he was tearing it up. That makes him a good cat, doing his job.
Yeah.
That's all I have, barn cats. You know, their job is keep my barn clean.
All right. So it is 11 o'clock.
Yep.
I'm ready to call it. So
That's good.
So let's see here. So we had Jeff, we had Tom, we had Kelly. We tried to have the carnivore fix. We tried to have Kurt. We had Dr. Kiltz. Was it Gloria?
Gloria.
Yeah.
Glora, Gloria.
Gloria.
Son.
I think that's it. I think I got everybody.
Mm-hmm.
All right. If I don't, I'll remember and then I'll apologize for it next week. All right, very good. And of course, Jeff and Rick here on the screen with us. So yeah, we're done. It's been 3 hours. We're gonna hang our hats up and go to bed. So
That's it.
yep. Some of us are gonna shower first, but all right. Well, good talking to everybody. Thanks for sharing all your non-scale and your on-the-scale victories of the carnivore diet. And keep up the good work. Keep doing what you're doing. And if you haven't tried the carnivore diet yet, hopefully what you heard tonight has motivated you to give it a try, and or at least gets you thinking about keto, low carb, animal based. Something that's very meat centric. When they say meat heals, it's true. And all the testimonies we've heard tonight, both on screen and in the chat, really go to show that there's something behind this. So if you want to turn your health around, we're here to help you out, and we can continue.
We'll do it with science.
Yes, science, very sciencey.
We got real sciencey today.
We got real sciencey there. What's interesting is like this is just my point of view. I was kind of getting a little lost there in the sciencey stuff. Sometimes we take the long road around to the simple conclusion. I'm ready to go quick this simple conclusion, and I'm like, where are we going? But it all comes around in the end to plants are toxic, problematic, and so you don't want to keep your consumption of them to a minimum. You don't want to be plant based. So very good. All right, I see that. Isabella, good night. Let's see here. Yeah, Scooby the dog. You said you were going to bed, but you're still here. I see that. Cranky. He says Godspeed, and Bride's Biscuit. Peace out, fam. All right. Yeah. So very good. All of you in the chat, thanks for sharing your stories. And we look forward to a nice discussion again next Monday. So have a good night. We love you all. We'll see you later. Bye.
Good night, y'all.